All right, let's do it then.
go.
Welcome everyone for another episode of the Group Up Podcast. We are back after a 100-odd day hiatus, and we're here with a special, spicy episode, the state of Overwatch debate. So hopefully it'll be worth the debate, worth the wait for the debate, as I brought the titans of gaming with me to discuss all things Overwatch 9-year plus anniversary. Let me introduce my guests who need no introduction. In the bottom right, from his new home, is my man Flats. Flats, what's up?
Hello, what's up?
New location, same Flats. In the bottom left,
Yep.
always shifting his location when he comes on call. Describe this time what you got for the audio listeners. In the bottom left, Code Spilo.
It's just a frame from the Wuyang hero trailer where they're all just a little bit overwhelmed with the excitement of having a new support character in the game Overwatch 2 by Blizzard Entertainment. And so the reaction is to look surprised. And so I figured that was exciting. Also, the hair kind of lines up accidentally as well, which works out. So yeah, just a really thrilling background from Blizzard Entertainment.
You made that sound like the most paid shill version of that you could possibly do. Like you name drop Blizzard.
Yeah,
as
I'm
many
warming
times you
up for
could.
my role in this
It's a
podcast.
new benefits
so-
package over there? What's going on? Hang on.
No, I can neither confirm nor deny the said benefits package. In fact, I'd like you to clarify what you mean by benefits package, because obviously it's a very vague term. So, you know.
New creator program is just like every time he mentions the word Overwatch on stream, it's like $50,
Yeah.
$50, just like drops it in. All right, well, one person we know is a guaranteed paid shill for Overwatch is in the top left, AVRL. AVRL, what's up?
Yeah, I was gonna say, no matter what Spilo does, what background he puts on, I'm sure the Samito fans will come after me the hardest. Look, if I got paid $50 per Overwatch mention, that'd be the only word I'd ever said ever again. I wouldn't say any other word ever again.
You turn
for
into
the
like
rest
a
of my life.
Pokemon.
I
You
would-
just be a Pokemon.
I would,
called
I
Overwatch.
would be, yeah, I would just cash in. I would just keep going until like my voice broke out, until my lungs stopped
Yeah.
working. You know, I would just
You'd-
cash in
you'd
as
still
much
find
as
a way to cry about
$50.
push, though. You'd cry about push, though, and you'd find a way to bring in like the glass box solution, right? Break in case of emergency. Those
Well,
are
we
the
know
two
you like
things that you'd
glasses,
still
so you know
play
that's
with.
good. You're a big fan of glass, as I'm aware.
True, you think this is one area where you two unite in the shattering of glasses is one area you guys have in common, so.
Hey, man, Colosseo is a pretty decent map nowadays, so
Wow.
that's all I'm saying.
Now, if that isn't an indicator of how far along Overwatch has come, then I don't know what is, because yeah, that's a whole new
Yeah.
era.
This guy's already shilling for Overwatch. He's already saying Colosseo is good. Listen to this guy. I'll give you $50 right now. That was a good one.
Thank you.
All right, well, as you've already alluding to, there's a lot to discuss here, so let's not waste any time. As always, we like to start with the general feelings on this podcast. So I'm going to go around. I'm going to ask you guys your general assessment, and just to make it even more interesting, I'm going to peg you to a rating out of 10. We're going to say 10 is like, this is as realistically good as the state of Overwatch could possibly be. And I will say like 1 is the developers are fucking it up to a royal level, like unbefore seen. And I will say like, let's say 5 is like, yeah, okay, they're doing it. It's an okay job. It's like in an okay state. So place your bets where you will along that spectrum. We'll go again in the same order we went. So Flats, how do you summarize the state of Overwatch right now?
I feel like I should go last because I have a very different perspective these days.
Okay. Sure. That
If
makes
possible.
sense. That makes sense. We got a good spin into this. So actually we'll go reverse. AVRL, you go first.
What's the pay scale between 1 and 10? Real quick.
Five
For every
bucks.
number
You guys
over
are
5,
important
it's another
information I need to know.
$75.
Okay. Wow.
I'll look into this.
Oof. Yeah. So what? Like 10 is perfect. 1 is garbage.
Mhm.
I would be pretty good with.
Balancing the money
I
versus
think
integrity right now.
I think a 7.5 is pretty warranted. I think it's halfway there because like the game, every season, in my opinion, has been an improvement. It has been like we've only gotten more content, better content, more attention to detail in terms of what people are asking for. Generally speaking, of course, there are going to be a lot of people asking for different things, and you can't do everything. But we've come a long way since the 5v5 versus 6v6 days, and now it's like, well, we can just have both, right? So what's the problem? And I think both are pretty decent. Some people will say they still want the game pre-season 9. I prefer the game post-season 9. I think the game has been better since then. I think most of the discussion that we've had post-season 9, pretty much all of us have agreed that post season 9 has been an improvement to the game. We're talking specifically about like the projectile size changes. Stadium has made the game better, in my opinion. Then we get stuff like map voting coming in now. Most of the new heroes coming through have been pretty decently designed. Nothing has felt really dumb or stupid or terribly broken or like just really dumb in general. I think some people may assume that Hazard was like too good to start with, but actually, when I remember correctly, Hazard took a while for people to pick up. Like people were not hard spamming that hero and carrying with it for a while, and then he got nerfed anyway, and then people assumed the nerf wasn't big enough, and then I'll gas up Spilo a little bit so you can send me the $50 back and we'll call it even. But Spilo was right about like a patch change where they did nerf Hazard, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is not enough," and it's like, well, actually, it ended up being enough. The Wuyang trial literally just came out like today. I tried him out a little bit, didn't get to play him in a real game because the queues are way too long for him right now. But first thoughts is generally pretty fine, and I'm just liking the direction of the game. We're going to get some decent more features back, stuff like the end of game title cards and stuff like that. The voting, the little upvote cards, supposed to come back at some point as well. So yeah, I think the game's in a good spot. We got a lot more to look forward to. Is it a perfect game? No, but it's in a good spot.
Yeah, you already brought up a lot of things. We'll get into the nitty gritties of the various points of this, and I think for this call, because the podcast has been on a break for a while, I've been out of touch for a while, so we're gonna try and keep this accessible to everyone. So whether you're still hard grinding Overwatch, or whether you're like me who's a little bit far removed, or you're like someone in the middle who's like maybe played a little bit of Overwatch, or maybe just wants to know what it's like, whether they should come back or not, or they're just like just nosy. They just want to see what's happening over there. Like they used to play Overwatch. They're like, I just want to know what's happening. So we're gonna try and be clear about like, okay, so this is what they did, by the way, and this is what the community said about it. So on that note, Spilo, we'll head over to you.
All right, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10, and 8 out of 10, and I'm gonna be specific. All right, so things that are good. There's been a lot of system experimentation. That's the hero bans. That's the map bans. There's obviously going to be people that don't like those aspects, and there are definitely some pretty clear negatives to those systems. But overall, I think largely have been positive for the vast majority of the player base, and more importantly, have showcased a willingness to take risks and try new things. And honestly, I've been really enjoying them. They have their downsides. We won't get into that right now. Hero design's been strong. I think every new hero, whether OP, underpowered, they've been unique. They've been strong. They've been creative. They've not just been homogenous, boring, same thing, one-trick ponies. They've been very creative, very clever in the typical Overwatch style. I think starting with Venture, we've had really 4 interesting hero designs in a row. I got to play test Wuyang several months ago and before that, and got to play only one game today, but his kit is fun. I don't know if he's going to be underpowered or weak or whatever. He's just different and unique, and it's a cool idea. I think obviously we have 5v5 and 6v6. That's part of the bad things. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I think perks have overall been really good. They've been awesome, really fun. I think we'll talk more about some of my bad problems with perks later, but overall have been a pretty fun aspect of the game that have opened up a lot of variety. And I think Stadium has obviously been like a huge positive. Like I'm not much of a Stadium guy myself, but there is a huge percentage of the player base that is obsessed with Stadium, and rightfully so. It's freaking weird, but there's so many things that you can do with Stadium that you can't do in the base game. Like it just opens up so many playstyle options and so many varieties, and even introducing some new approaches to things that Overwatch never really would have been able to do. And then in terms of just like the raw basic content stuff, yeah, it's not Marvel Rivals. It's never going to be Marvel Rivals, of course, but there's been a steady stream of interesting new things, some cool collabs. I'm not much of a skin guy myself, but like there's been a lot of new things coming out that if you're just even a casual enjoyer of the game, that are definitely worth getting into. And then also we have public stats coming out now. So we're going to have win rates, pick rates, all that kind of stuff. I really feel like a shill right now. Holy crap. But like, these are things that I've been asking for years, right? Like not just me, but all of us, I think here have been asking for, but like public win rates, public pick rates. We're not only going to get that, but Gavin Winter, who's one of the developers, has put a lot of time into in-game statistics. So you're going to be able to see how much damage does this do? How much healing? How long does it last? Like all the stuff that should have been accessible really from the get-go that Overwatch has been terrible with, they're actually doing those things now. So it's like all these systems, all these things are going well. Now, in terms of the negative, we got a couple of things. I don't think they've been as clear or as consistent with perk quality, which we won't go into the details, but I think some of the perks have been really strong. And honestly, it's been power creep, right? There's definitely been kind of an idea that initially that the intention was to provide more choice without really incentivizing just raw power creep. But I think we're kind of at a point now where it really is just power creep. So that's not necessarily always a bad thing, but it is something that we're going to have to kind of keep an eye on. Obviously, some perks, not all perks are created alike. Season 18 is going to rework a lot of those perks, but I don't know if they're going to fix all the quote unquote terrible ones. Like, for example, I hate the May perks. I think the May perks are actively toxic for the character, and I want all of them gone. And so there's certain characters that just don't have good perks, and they need to be. And then the 5v5 66 thing. So I think we're at a point in time now where it feels like we've kind of like, all right, we've given the 66 or 66. Great, now go play 66. But I think one of the very fair criticisms from a lot of the 66 crowd is that 66, I think part of the balance design of the 66 was a little bit awkward. Like, I think they had this concept of like, we need to make tank cooldown cycles really long. And I think that's wrong. And I think that makes the game mode actively worse. I think they need to be keeping 66 cycles at a reasonable rate. And then really just even bigger picture than that, 66 really doesn't get any balance patches or no attention at all. And there's like a lot of like low hanging fruit of some things that they could do to make that game mode a little bit more interesting. Even just like a developer spends an afternoon just like playing 66 and experimenting and looking at pick rates or win rates. Just I'm not saying it's like easy to do this stuff, but I think even though it's definitely a minority of the player base right now, it doesn't really get any development time at all. And I think it deserves a little bit. I think that it's kind of it deserves a little bit more than that. I'm definitely a guy that enjoys 5v5 more, just based off the positioning side of things. But I mean, it doesn't get enough attention as it deserves. So yeah, we'll see how the perk design goes. We'll see how the 66 5v5 thing goes. There's definitely some balance mistakes. Like right now, there's a huge armor bug that's like really, really toxic. But
I heard about
I'm
this.
pretty sure that's getting fixed in season 18. Yeah, but they didn't hot fix anything to do in relation to it. So even though it's like not really that disruptive, it's like this like perception that's really weird. Anyway, but honestly, mostly positive. I think it's like honestly, my personal. I mean, I think we're in like the best state Overwatch has been personally.
Ever?
Yeah. I mean, minus the novelty, right? Like it's a new game, right? It's exciting. It's like a cultural phenomena, but like in terms of like from like a balance of how old the game is with how much new content and how balanced the game is, it's probably the best state it's ever been, I think.
It's the greatest amount of content we've ever had. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
I don't think we really have it. I don't think we have. Sorry to interrupt, but we don't have a really wildly broken hero here. Even like Ramatra, who's benefiting like a lot from this block bug, isn't like dominating ranked at all levels. So it's like he's really annoying, and that's like the worst hero that we have right now. Like everything else is just kind of like there's overpowered and underpowered characters, but it's like it's a pretty good spot right now, all things considered.
Okay, well, this is where I hope some debate, quote unquote, will begin. Because
sure.
I'm gonna in a second I'm gonna tee it up to Flats, and I'm genuinely curious. I don't know what his rating is, where his thoughts are, but this is why I wanted to bring a slight diversity of opinion, because I think like I don't use Twitter, but I tweeted like yesterday to be like, all right, this podcast is back, just because I was like, I should probably tell people, give them like at least some notice. And some people were like, why are you inviting Flats, man? Flats hasn't played the game much in these last few days, whatever, like last few months. Like, keep people who are super dedicated to Overwatch. And it's like, well, you're missing the point. It's like the whole point of measuring the state of Overwatch or the state of a game is that we want different perspectives on it, right? We want people who have different relationships, different level of engagements with it. We have me completely outside looking in, just an outside spectator, someone who knows what the game is like but has no personal experience with it anymore. We have AVRL and Spilo, who are, hardcore into Overwatch. AVRL, you do a little bit of other games, but Spilo, you kind of famously rejected Mao Rivals to say, no, I'm going to stick with Overwatch. This is my jam. So we've got two Overwatch lovers over here, and I think we may see some of that diversity of opinion come from the fact that you guys love where the game is at. But then we have someone like Flats. Flats, you're someone who plays a bunch of games. You spent a lot of time, obviously, playing Marvel Rivals, Overwatch's greatest direct rival. And so I think the perspective you're going to bring is going to be invaluable, because you bring the wider perspective and you're not necessarily as in the weeds. So as someone who's kind of a little bit halfway between, let's say, where I am and where these guys are, where's your stance? And does it match the poster statement from Spilo, the best state the game has ever been in? Hello, Group Up podcast listeners, SEB here. Just wanted to give a quick update on where we're at with the podcast. I'm always really grateful when you guys want the podcast to be hosted more often. But the truth is, I don't know when or how often I am going to host the podcast going forwards. Honestly, a lot of it will come down to how this video is received when you guys watch it on YouTube and the State of Marvel Rivals video that will come soon after. Now, if you're wondering what I have been doing with my time, as many of you may know, I have another channel called The Soak where I do media analysis, so basically video essays covering all my favorite anime, movie, and TV shows. And I'm very happy to say that that has been doing really, really well. I've had some really successful videos and the channel is growing at an amazing pace. So I feel very happy, very lucky to be doing that. But it does come with its own challenges, namely copyright. And with how frivolous copyright law on YouTube can be, it has been a bit of a financial struggle, especially since I'm not making that streaming money anymore. If you'd like to support this content, my content creation in general, then I would be really grateful if you could support in some way. Patreon is one option if you feel comfortable pledging a monthly amount, or otherwise if you prefer a one-time donation, PayPal is an option. The links to both will be in the video description. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I still do stream occasionally, mostly solo player games, and pretty much just for fun and for my community. So if you want to have a good chat, come on down and say hi. I'm actually thinking about starting a Final Fantasy XIV run. I've never played that game before, so if any of that sounds of interest to you, then please do come on down to the Soak, come on down to my stream, or just support in any way that you can. But I am just grateful for your view. So thank you, and on with the podcast.
You know, it is very funny. I saw the same thing, SVP. There's this weird internet phenomena where apparently people have lost that, you know, when you don't see someone on a camera, they don't exist isn't actually true. So even though I don't play the game as much anymore, thinking I've just like completely lost everything that I know and like know what's happening is the most foolishly, hilariously stupidest shit I've ever seen on the planet. Because imagine how many people you think follow every piece of Overwatch content and follow everything and they don't comment, they don't like, they don't tweet anything. Like there's thousands. You know how we know? Because I've made a career off of it. So literally it's funny to watch where it's like, well, you haven't been streaming, you wouldn't know. As if like most of my closest friends aren't in this game, as if I don't still follow everyone on Twitter, as if I still don't have a YouTube feed, as if I still don't have a TikTok feed, right? Like I just don't interact. That's it. That's as simple as it is. But I bet if you quizzed me on like the last 6 months of Overwatch stuff, I bet I could probably, other than like unique numbers, like, oh yeah, like, you know, what's hazards like individual spikes do now. Oh, I couldn't tell you that anymore. But I could probably still know like 95% of it. That being said, being on the outside has been a bit of an interesting perspective. And you know what? I actually thought you guys went low. When you asked me, I was gonna say 8.5.
Wow.
And the reason why I was gonna say 8.5 was I actually agree that it is probably in its best state it's ever been. Pause. But it's very interesting from the outside perspective because it's cool and interesting to watch how excited a lot of Overwatch fans are. And I think they have every right to be. But there's so like the concerns for me as being in the middle is where do you go next, right? Because I feel like we've hit the wall almost. Like Spilo brought up some good things about the 5v5, 66. I have thoughts on that too. But like, let's talk big picture. Where does the game go from here? If you do not like, if you keep the same content pace you have, isn't this the max theoretically, right? Like you get a hero, you get 3 heroes a year, you know, skins, battle passes, additional in-game features like stats, additional balance for in-game. Like the game feels pretty balanced, perks changing in and out. Like where, like adding more heroes to stadium, you know, more powers to stadium, changing those perks out. But like, are we at? I think we're at capacity, at least in the current sense. The only way I could think you go further is if you actually go and reverse the track of where the story's been, where there's just nothing, period. There's no lore, there's no cinematics, there's nothing that actually drives any new people in. And so from the outside, there's 2 things that I've noticed that are very apparent. One, the hate for Overwatch is way stronger than you even believe it is. Like if you think it's strong, no, it's actually 10 times worse than you think it is. So much so that it doesn't matter if people think, even if now it is in its best state it's ever been, the amount of people that will legitimately, not just because like 4 or 5-year-old rhetoric, whatever, they do not care. They will never touch that game again. They will think it's the worst thing on the planet for whatever reason that they have, right? And I don't know if that's fixable, genuinely. So I feel like you kind of in the game where it's like, well, it's doing a lot of good things, right? Like it's listening to its current community, which is good. But it's funny talking about the 6v6 stuff. I'm actually a bit of a realizer after playing it when it first came out, when it actually had its first balance patch, and probably only balance patch. I realized how much I genuinely dislike tanking in Overwatch 2. And every time I come back, I just don't play tank, because if I end up playing tank multiple games in a row, I literally want to rip my eyelids out of my head. Playing support and playing DPS are a million times better, and the support experience in this game is top tier. And I realize that's what it is. And I don't think I'll ever like the 5-5 tank format. I think I've just given up on it. It's GG's for me. But honestly, a lot of those people that used to argue for like they should bring 6v6 back, because like think of all the people that quit, like that probably would come back and play. No, those people will never come back. I promise you, they will never come back. So I say this more as like if there ever is rhetoric in the future about bringing players back, I think you should probably just let that go. I think you probably have like the player base it currently has, and you could probably get people more invested into it. And also like maybe people that left for story reasons and don't like have a reason to like super get into it might come back. But if like on gameplay alone, it's actually kind of sad, because anytime I've ever talked about positive things Overwatch does, whether it's with variety games like I was talking about like some of the final stuff forever ago, and like they thought it was like I might as well have like called their grandmother like a big fat smelly grandma, like how fucked up it was. To how dare you even assume that the good things Overwatch did are similar to how our game is. Like, for example, it was talking about how Overwatch has improved significantly since its launch, right? Like the finals was another example of like they've improved significantly, but sometimes it's hard to bring people back. They're not really willing to give it a try once that first impression's been broken. And I was talking about how Overwatch has improved significantly, and like, oh my god, I've never seen such anger, like full on, like I thought someone was gonna come knock on my door, types of anger. And so it's really sad. And I don't actually know if Overwatch realizes that, because I think they do genuinely want to bring a lot of those people back and like rebuild that that trust that they once had. And like I was a big believer that you could do that, and there's like certain things that like you could try to do. I'm no longer a believer. I think that like you have your community, and I think you just roll with it. And even with like 6v6 is a good example where I personally don't think I want to play tank in Overwatch anymore as a 6v6er, or sorry, 5v5. I've just genuinely like the rivals experience for tanking much more, and I realized when playing 6v6 Overwatch it's very similar, and that's what I genuinely liked. That being said, though, like if there was ever an argument to even like switch formats back, I don't think you rock the boat on what format you have at this point. Like your community is now built off of that game. Don't try to pander to older like communities that maybe used to play. Like focus on what you got now, because those people are never coming back. Like I genuinely can't stress that to you enough. Like how deep-seated hatred is from those groups of people, and I really want to drive that home, as I do think Overwatch is doing really well. But my curiosity is like, where do you take it from here? I'm really curious to see how where they go forward.
Yeah, well,
I
this
do
brings
think
up
like formats kind of monopolize the Overwatch hate thing, and I always think format was such a minority of the problem, right? Whenever you see like, because if you think about like Flats is saying, like the perception of why Overwatch is a dead game, it really isn't. It's always goes back to the PVE or the cinematics. It's like that's that. I don't know what you guys see, but that's anytime it's always that. It's almost never format issue, right? It's just a player perception of like, oh, the devs don't care. It's a cash grab. Cinematics, they canceled PVE, greedy, and so like I agree with Flats that like it really isn't. Even if 66 was superior to 5v5, it's not like that's not going to like fix things. You know what I'm saying? We're not just going to like, oh, it's fixed now, it's back to 66. It really is like a perception. So like if you ever wanted to bring players back, even if it was just in part, because I agree with Flats, I don't think you can really ever repair something like that in full. It's going to have to be with like a very casual, communicated spectacle, to be honest, like in some way, shape, or form, for lack of a better term. Like it can't be like the game is really balanced and designed well, and we've got a lot of really cool characters. Like I think that stuff is very important to keep the player base that we have. And I like to think the game is doing well because they've done a phenomenal job at that. But if you wanted to fix the public perception of Overwatch, it doesn't matter, because people don't want to There's not really
I
there's
disagree.
a trickle, right? There's a trickle. All right, Avril.
Here we go. The debate part of
Here we go. Here we
the
go.
great debate starts, guys. This is what we're here for. The great debate part. No, you
The two
can get
shills
people back.
debating.
It's been
Wow.
proven. It's been proven. You just got to drop the anime. Okay, it's worked for other games.
Oh yeah.
Once the anime drops,
All right. Yeah,
then people
sure.
start flooding in. Okay,
It's
League
gonna
of
be
Legends is a
spectacle, though.
10-year-old game. Arcane drops. People start playing the game and then realize they hate it because you can't learn League of Legends now unless you've been playing the game already for the last 7 years. What else? Edge Runners
That's a
drops
big
for
one
Cyberpunk.
right there.
Terrible game. Terrible game. Edge Runners drops.
But it's
Everyone
not
floods back in the game. It's like, oh, this game was like okay now. Oh, so that happened. No Man's Sky didn't have an anime, but if it did, same shit would have happened. That ship got turned around
Yeah.
as well. No, people would because people are stuck on. I don't know. This it's dumb to me, but people get stuck on the whole story lore thing. It's like none of you guys really cared about this because you signed up to play
Yeah.
a PvP shooter game. If you wanted a lore game, you would have played World of Warcraft or some other shit. You would have played an RPG game. You would have played a story game, a walking simulator of some sort. You did not play Overwatch because of the story. Stop lying to yourselves. I hate this. It's really annoying that people will state lore or some story bullcrap is the reason they don't like it. It's like no, you never touched Overwatch for that reason. So quit lying to everybody. Quit lying to yourself. It's getting annoying.
Sorry, I wanted to let you finish, but I just wanted to go after because I disagree with that slightly. Just fuck it, I'll rip it.
Some people will say I did, but I don't agree. I don't think so.
Well, no, I
think
agree
you
that
did.
you're right on they didn't get into it for that, but it's why they stayed. So like the amount of people that latch on to one character and or one hero, like think about all the Twitter accounts you see that are just like dedicated to one hero or one thing, right? Like people make it almost their whole personality. I made a fucking career out of it, right? Like I can't tell you how many times people still come in and go, oh my God, you're that Ryan guy. I can't even get through a Rivals day without someone going, oh my God, I used to watch you back in Overwatch
Not 'cause
when you
of the
used to
lore.
play Ryan.
It has something to do with lore.
Well, hang
That
on,
sounds
hang
like
on.
gameplay to me. It sounds like hero design to me.
Right, but I'm saying is the lore is what part of what builds into that though. Like it's not just that. Like a lot of those cinematics and those stories that people watch that really did actually connect to them. It made them want to try those characters. And there's other things too, right? Like if we're talking 2016, I'd say that there's a few things that probably make people want to play like Genji, right? I think the cinematics a big one. I think the Seagull 117 video is another big one. And I think that just being the a cool looking ninja made a lot of people want to play that character and got attached to it. But being able to also look at the story behind it too, kind of just takes it to the next level, right? And that's something where I think a lot of games today, if they mimic, for pre-Rivals, right? There was 4 or 5 hero shooters that tried to mimic Overwatch, and they were close in gameplay, but they had nothing else. And part of what Rivals grabbed was not only a pretty good gameplay loop, but you had a connection to every single character in the game. You knew who all the characters were, and people when they first jumped in had a decent idea of what they wanted to play. So they got to relive 2016 Overwatch, but now with other characters that they recognize and enjoy. So I agree with you. I don't think lore is what brings someone in. I think lore is what keeps them in. But also what you said with Arcane, right? That's a story that got people into the game, right? People went back to try League and then realized, holy shit, it's 10 years old and I'm just getting my ass kicked. This fucking sucks. So clearly lore does get people's attention, right? It can work just in the anime versus in game.
I think it's the other way around. I think lore gets people in and gameplay keeps them in. And the reason why is because Overwatch is a game that hardly has lore. Okay, you can watch the cinematics.
That was me. I was
We'll let Spilo just express this thought because I think it's a short one, and then we'll go back to AVRL.
Yeah, it's lore in the gameplay for me. It's the gameplay loop, and that's just my experience. But I don't think it really matters. I think Flats' point is that it's basically impossible to get people hooked on a quality gameplay loop because people don't want to get into the quality gameplay loop. And then AVRL is just simply saying, wait, I know a secret life hack, break the glass, release an anime, release all the stuff that's more spectacle that will get people hooked with the gameplay loop. And that's really all it is. I think we both agree that the gameplay loop / lore development, whether it keeps people or gets them in, whatever, but it's the gameplay is not the lowest hanging fruit anymore. I think that that ship has sailed like 2 years ago. Like not saying that Overwatch is perfect right now, but like compared to any other game, it has its issues. I think it's in a much better state than it's ever been. So it's like, what do we need to do to get a casual audience willing to just try it again? To be fair, it's a 10-year-old game, and I think you need to kind of set like realistic expectations. Like it's not going to be the #1 played game on Steam besides the whole BattleNet versus Steam things. Like it's just not going to happen. It's not going to compete with that. But like, is there like a point in time where it's like we could get more? I don't know. Like I don't know.
All right,
So here's what I'm trying to say is the reason why I said the anime will bring people back is because the lore will bring people into the game, but the gameplay is what keeps them in. The difference is like we've seen it. Like people will watch Arcane, but then they try League of Legends, and the gameplay, while good, is good if you've been playing League of Legends for 5 years, and not good if you're starting from day one. Whereas I think Overwatch is actually a lot more approachable for a day one player. I'm not a day one player, so like I can't just say for a fact that if I was day one player in Overwatch, how I would feel. But I just think it's like as a hero shooter, it's still pretty damn approachable. Especially like I think Overwatch does actually try to give you like a new player experience. Anyway, point is, I don't think people stay for the lore because there's actually just no lore. Like the lore is surface level. The lore is like so surface level that once you dive into it, you're like, okay, I've seen all the cinematics, I've read the comics. If I'm like a hardcore fan, I might even read the short stories. And then what do you have after that? Like compare that to any game with real lore, like a game that's based on story, based on lore is the main selling point. Overwatch is like no lore. It's like a 1% of a real lore that a game should have if you're looking at a game that actually like selling the lore as real marketing. So the people are saying it's like, well, I got into Overwatch because of the cinematics. Yes, you're proving my point. Literally proving my point, chat. Thank you for that. You proved that exactly you got in because of the lore, but you're not going to stay because of the lore because there's actually no lore in the game. You're going to stay because the game is going to be somewhat fun for you to play from a gameplay perspective. Because if it wasn't, you would leave. You wouldn't stay playing game. You would be like Flats and you would say, I can't handle the 5-5 at tanking experience because it's not fun, which is a fine. And you know what? I still don't think the 5-5 tanking experience is perfect, so I don't blame you for that. I think that's a fair take to have. But that's my point. If the gameplay isn't good, you won't stay. There's not enough. There's nowhere near amount of lore in the game to make you stay. So lore is never going to be the reason that you stay in Overwatch. But it might be the reason that you give it another look.
Well, I mean, the thing about like, okay, I actually wanted to go and I want to actually asterisk. I want to talk about the new player thing in a second. But I mean, even if that is true, like there is, like you said, there's no lore to latch onto. So it's like, yeah, if I don't play it as much, but there's nothing to really like. There's nothing there anyway. So it is only gameplay loop. And so like the gameplay loop for me as a tank player has changed so much that it's just like, like it's not like what it was. Like, for example, using lore, like what was my favorite character for a long time, Ryan, like the Ryan lore versus like cinematics and whatnot is so different than the gameplay loop. Like Ryan now is just like brain off charge gameplay. And like you just try to fucking one shot people with pin or just like shield bot. You know what I mean? It's like, that was very different than like what it was portrayed as, like old cinematics and like how the gameplay loop was back then. So like this might be an agree to disagree, right, on that part specifically. But I just don't think like there's not like even in that there is no lore to say that that's the reason why you would leave anyways. You know what I mean? Like, but also for me, I've played the game for 8 years. You know what I mean? So I mean, if you want to know, I'll tell you an answer. Fuck it, I'll say it. With Rivals, I mean, the reason why I play Rivals more is one, I'd kind of had the realization with the 6v6 Overwatch stuff was like, oh shit, I really do like this format much better than I did like for the 5v5. Like it just feels better. But two, Rivals was almost like getting to experience 2016 Overwatch, and I didn't get to do 2016 Overwatch. I was a Siege player back then, and then like played Arc, so I missed 2016 Overwatch. And also like it's hard to deny, like my channel literally doubled in size overnight. Like literally everything doubled overnight, and I was having more fun and I was having a good time and everything was going to the moon. And as much as I love Overwatch, you know, I also got to think about what's best for me sometimes. And so like, yeah, there's other mitigating factors to that specifically. But yeah, anyways, I think we agree to disagree on the lore part. I do think I have a good perspective though on new player experience. Do you mind if I go into that really quick?
Sure. Go ahead.
So, actually, I've gotten a lot of people from Rivals to try Overwatch because I always talk about it pretty highly, and doing good things. And then when it comes up, like, why don't you play it as much anymore? My answer's almost always the same. I did it for 8 years. I feel like I kind of beat the game in a lot of ways. And most of the changes that I've ever wanted the game to have are in. So like I don't have many complaints for the game, which is fine. But I also came to realize that if I wanted to play Overwatch full time again, which I don't, I would have to role swap because 6v6 is not the main format and it's not a supported format. And to think it even is like hilariously bad. So I would probably need to go role swap, and I just haven't wanted to really do that. Most of the people that I've gotten that have come from rivals that said they're going to try Overwatch for the first time really struggle, and they always say like, I'm getting my ass kicked. I load in and all the characters are locked, and they get confused, and they're like, well, I just want to be able to choose all the characters in the beginning. It's like, well, they do that to like ease you in so you don't get overwhelmed by choice. They're like, yeah, but I don't care. Like I want to try whatever I want to try. That's it, you know? And so Overwatch is a very difficult game. And I think if you wanted to get into a hero shooter right now, I don't think they're going straight to Overwatch. I think they're trying Rivals first because it's just way easier.
I agree.
So I don't think Overwatch has the best new player experience. Basically, was what I was trying to go into. And I don't even think that's like because of the in-game version that they do. I think the game's just really fucking hard. And when if people haven't had time to learn it, they're not 8-9 years behind on knowing what nano boost Winston combo, like, you know, someone like doesn't communicate in quick play, they just do the ultimate ready thing and they jump in and you don't nano them. They're going, well, what the fuck? Why didn't you nano me? And they're just confused. Like, how was that supposed to know? And it's like
much faster tempo than Rivals. Much faster.
It is much faster as well. And like time to kill is much faster too. Like you don't have like as many bailout abilities or support abilities or healing, whatever it might be. So yeah,
there's onboarding.
I just wanted to say that,
like Rivals. I'm sorry, Flat. No, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say I don't think that the new player experience for a brand new Overwatch player is very good, in my opinion.
I reached out to Overwatch about a year ago, and I said, if you guys need, your tutorial sucks, your onboarding sucks, I'm willing to take a couple months out of my time. Straight up, I was like, I mean, if you shoot your shot, you know. I was like, I will help you rework your tutorial to something that's more functional.
This guy's trying to get paid? Question mark?
Yeah.
Wait, you guys are getting paid?
And yeah, and they were you know, they were nice about it, but I think it was just like other priorities at the point in time. But like, yeah, I mean, I think like if we're gonna start onboarding new players, Flats is absolutely 100% correct. It is terrible onboarding for Overwatch. It is an unbelievably difficult game. It's like the only game I actually think that I recommend.
Unbelievably difficult. Come on, man.
Captain AVRL. Let me explain to you. Okay, so
give me a tier list of difficult games. Show me what
kids love shooters, right? Kids love shooters, right? They love their Fortnite. A lot of them I know love Rivals, right? I've had a few kids try Overwatch. One of them was my sister. One of them was one of my wife's students, and so on. And they literally, like, they've done shooters. They know what shooters are. They can't handle anything more than like practice range / just playing versus AI, because anything like, even if it's like scaled down to like, you know, play, they're just the curb stomped. Like they don't know what the buttons do. They don't know how to. It's just so much harder than other games.
Let me run this by you. What's more difficult?
No.
Counter-Strike
You
or
gotta let me
Overwatch?
finish.
League of Legends or Overwatch? Apex Legends or Overwatch?
But see, stop. But see, that's you need to. We need. Okay, let me clarify what I mean by difficult. I mean to understand what the buttons do. Okay, anybody can pick up Counter-Strike that's ever played a shooter before. Now, the ceiling of that game is ridiculously high, right? But to understand what my buttons do is unbelievably simple. I picked up a game of Valorant. Is it easier for a new player
to play Overwatch or Counter-Strike?
All right, AVRL, I'm going to step in here. Let Spilo get his full thought out.
I think it's Counter-Strike as well, actually.
Easily Counter-Strike. It's not even close. Counter-Strike, I haven't played it at a high level, but I had played shooters and I understood immediately, oh, there's a weapon, you shoot, you buy stuff, and then that's basically it. You didn't have to understand the macro, you just shot the gun that you had, right? Overwatch starts you with more buttons. It's the same thing you said with League, right? Like I played Deadlock for the first time, like whenever it was on alpha or whatever. Bro, I was like, I loaded in and I was like in tears. Like I'm literally like, I don't know what's going on. Like I'm completely swamped, right? And you know, I figured it out because I like competitive games, and I had a guy who was explaining some of the stuff for me. But I felt like that must be what Overwatch feels like for new players, and I've seen it firsthand several times since then. Obviously, skill is relative, so like you will be playing versus players that are equally clueless as you. But it's kind of like Flat says, when you first load in the game, you got half the heroes are locked. You don't know what half the abilities do, and because it's so much faster, it's like with Rivals, you will die, you will fail, but it's like it feels like you kind of get onboarded gently. Overwatch just punches you in the mouth. And I think like that is something that they could do a better job of. I don't think you could completely fix that without changing the gameplay loop, which I don't want them to do. But that does mean that the onboarding process has to be done better. You know?
Okay, well,
Yeah,
go ahead, Alva. You give your thought, and then I'm gonna move us on to a different point.
Yeah, the onboarding process is not great. No, I don't disagree there. And yeah, Marvel is probably easier to get into. No, it is definitely easier to get into. It's like a friendlier game to get into. But like compared to the rest of the market out there, like I just listed off a bunch of games, and we will not agree on the Counter Strike.
Which ones? I haven't played a lot of games. I disagree with CS. Valorant was easy to pick up.
Can I just give one idea on the Counter Strike thing? Like the only thing I would say with Counter Strike is at the highest level, absolutely not. But at like the easiest level, like it's almost like quote unquote Call of Duty. You see guy with gun walk at you, you have gun. Guy with gun shoot you, you fall over. There's smoke, molly, grenade, stuff like that. In Overwatch, there's like blinks, flying monkey, ball slam you, roll by at 9 million hours, like Diva's defense matrix, missiles, bomb, like it's much more explosions. There's much more things happening on the screen.
Readability. I got one for you. Ready for this? How complicated is chess to a beginner? Chess is CS:GO, in my opinion.
I think that's a bad analogy. That's a bad analogy. I was gonna agree with you, but as someone who is literally now hard grinding chess, Spilo, I think this is a bad.
But see, that's
no. As someone who just started like 2 months ago, I went through the new person to chess experience. And it is exceedingly complicated. So I want to.
But see, that's because you're aiming too high. Listen,
no, but even just getting in, you're just like, oh my god, there's like a bazillion things I can do.
Listen, I learned how to play chess.
We're getting besides the point. We're getting besides the point. We're getting besides the point. By the way, we're getting besides the point. I was gonna agree with you on CS:GO. By the way, I was with you until you fucking shot yourself in the foot.
No. You guys are confusing definitions here. I'm explaining how easy is it to understand what the game is doing. It is moving piece to take piece checkmate. That's it. With CS, like Flats is saying, it's just Call of Duty. That's it. Now, it's obviously not that easy to actually play the game properly, but to explain it to a 5-year-old, you can do that. With Overwatch, which is literally what you're working with. When you're onboarding, you're just a 5-year-old, you're a child. You don't have no idea what's going on. You can't explain it like a 5-year-old. You can't do it. That's what I'm talking about. I've seen games. Yeah, you can come in. Just like, but like when I'm saying difficult, it's like how easy is it to understand what the buttons do, not how you're supposed to use them or the strategy.
I understand what you're saying.
What
Go ahead,
the buttons do?
I think we're just using different metrics here because if the argument is how many buttons, more buttons equals more difficult. If that's what we're reducing it to, then I guess you just win. It's not what I'm talking about though. Like, there's a lot more than just how many buttons there are and what they do. Like a 5-year-old kid can jump into Overwatch and just shoot people, and that's not technically wrong. You're still playing the game. Yeah, you just run into Counter Strike and shoot people. It's well, actually, there's like
let's leave because I think when we get to these different game comparisons, we're talking different languages. Like I'm gonna hold my own tongue and not snap back at Spilo. I'm gonna let this move on. So AVRL, move on.
I'll finish my point because I haven't been able to finish it because people will like dogpile me for like interrupting, but I haven't been able to finish my point because I've been interrupted like 5 times now. My point is, if you were to make a tier list of games that based on difficulty, what I think is difficult, Overwatch is like a B tier, and then you have like an A and S tier. B's being generous. I'm just gonna say Marvel might put in a C. It's not that difficult of a game. And to really go back to what I'm trying to get to is like if you have an arcane, people want to try and get to League of Legends. It's very difficult. Like the learning curve is difficult. The learning curve of Overwatch, in comparison, so much easier, like unbelievably easy compared to a game like League of Legends. And I am going to use that comparison because I am talking about dropping an anime to get people back in the game in terms of interest, right? That's the original conversation. This is where like we kind of spiraled off into a whole bunch of stuff, and then this whole like video game debate, which you're right, SVB is probably not like super useful. So to get back to what I'm actually trying to say is like you haven't dropped an anime for Overwatch. Is the learning curve for Overwatch that difficult for people to get into? Not really. Is Marvel Rivals easier? Yes, I don't disagree. Are there harder games? Are there easy games? Yes. Is the onboarding that good? It's probably missing a lot of stuff. The tutorial isn't great. Maybe we should have an option where, like, to Flats' point, it would be maybe a good option to allow people to unlock the entire hero roster instantly if that's what they want to do. If they look at that and say, you know what? I don't mind being overwhelmed with all the heroes in the game. Press yes to agree. Boom, all heroes unlocked. That might be a good option. Maybe that should be in the game. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I agree. We should probably improve the onboarding process, but I think the learning curve of Overwatch, generally speaking, to like get into day one, it's not that hard when you look at the rest of the games out there. It's certainly easier to play than like a lot of the games that I listed.
Okay. I think again this is the point where debate occurs, right? We have different opinions, so I think that's totally fair.
Can I slam my desk and like is that
Sure.
legal?
Sure,
Can
Channel,
I
you're
have like
gonna
a
send me
buzzer?
go.
You know?
Channel, you're gonna send me go. I think everybody here, by the way, I think everybody here understands that it's deeply nuanced, right? It's like a deeply nuanced topic. Like whatever we may ascribe is like, I think this is the number one reason. Even number one is like 20%, right? And it's like there's 10 other things that are like 10%, 15% of why people don't play, why people aren't coming back to Overwatch in the droves. I think all I'll say is, because I haven't actually had a perspective on the actual substance of the matter beyond the stupid chess debate, is that I think my perspective actually marries a lot of what you guys are saying. Like it marries the two ends of this spectrum, which is that I think if you look at I think it's really unfair to compare Overwatch to our rivals. I know I just did it at the start of the show, and it's natural because it's like they're very similar games, but it's actually unfair because one is brand new, relatively speaking, and one is 10 years old. Really, you should compare Overwatch's performance and how it like retains or loses players is like compare it to League of Legends, compared to Dota, compared to CS. And those games also massively struggle with onboarding new players. Like those games also struggle massively with attracting new audiences. I think the difference really comes from a sentiment of betrayal. Because I think if you look at the player bases of League of Legends and Dota, like they come and go all the time. Like the players, they have like this huge player base, and obviously you're going to decline after a while. Like people are going to get tired of your game. But people tend to like hop in and out. Everyone I know who plays League, who plays Dota, they have like phases where they'll be like, oh, I'm really into it again. They'll play it for like a month or two. They get back into it. They catch up on everything that's new. And then they get tired again. They're like, oh, whatever, I'm over it, right? Like I kind of get that picture again and I'm dipping back out. Or like something exciting happens, like a new event drops or a new skin drops, and like I come back and then they leave. I think the vast majority of traffic is people who once have experienced the game and come in and out. I could be wrong. I don't have any stats. This is pure hunch. I don't think there's a huge influx of like new League players. Yes, people would have tried with Arcane. I 100% agree with AVRL. There would have been people try, but by and large, we're talking the same people. With Overwatch, those people don't come back because I feel like there's a sense of betrayal. There was like a schism. League and Dota never had like CSGO. Even CS's CS2 controversy never caused the same schism that Overwatch had. Like it had so much goodwill. Again, it's easy to forget now, but we were there. I was there when Overwatch had like the most goodwill of any game in the market, when Blizzard had the most goodwill of any company in the market. And then it was just like bad thing after bad thing after bad thing after bad thing, right? It wasn't just one thing. It wasn't just like just the cancellation of the PvE. The cancellation of PvE, well, firstly, the PvE was announced when they had this whole Hong Kong controversy going with that Blitzchung, the Hearthstone streamer who Blizzard like mistreated. That, the breast milk, Bobby fucking Kotick. Then they didn't actually announce that they'd canceled the PvE. They kind of half told everyone, half promised everyone. Then they announced that the PvE was coming. Then they canceled. So there was like so much goodwill was lost along the way that where normally would be traffic in and out is no longer coming. It's like people are like, I hate Overwatch. Like they physically, because people talk about that about League too, right? Like people will say League is a fucking crack cocaine addiction. But they're being kind of joking about it. They're being a little bit silly and facetious. People mean it when they say they fucking hate Overwatch. They're just like over it. They like genuinely felt a sense of betrayal. And I think that's this ineffable thing, because you can't even blame the current devs. As you guys are all saying, they're doing a great job. They're doing everything that most of the community wanted, and it's not working. Why? Because like those people just don't want to come back. They're just like something indescribable has been lost, and that's a real tragedy. Like it really hurts me. I have no ill will to Overwatch. It's a real tragedy, like genuinely one that's worth documenting. But I think that's what it is. I think it's just like people don't want to come back.
Yeah, there's going to be no debate there. So,
no, I mean, I want to expand on it just barely. I've met streamers from other games and rivals now, and I mean, I've talked to them because sometimes they had Overwatch sponsorships. I'm like, what do you think? You know, you play rivals. Like, what do you think? And it's like, honestly, it's not a bad game. It's not terrible, but it just doesn't catch me as much anymore. But there's a common theme. Whenever anyone streams Overwatch from another game, their chat goes ballistic. Ballistic. Every time. And it's like, why are you playing this dog shit piece of shit game? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And it's sad. It genuinely is actually really sad. And I don't have an answer. And honestly, I feel very personally invested because I feel like hopefully it's not egotistical to say, I feel like I've had a lot of impact on how Overwatch has shaped itself in the last couple of years. And I feel like you're not always going to agree with me. Some people, obviously, we disagree on things. We're disagreeing on things right now. I can always go to bed at night saying I did my best. I can always go to bed thinking like, yeah, like, for better or for worse. I think we tried to push for the best changes. And seeing how we are now, I don't have many other ideas outside of like story, lore, anime, stuff like that. Like stuff we've talked about billions of times at this point. What else there could be? And I don't know if there is. Like if we're talking like you literally set me in like Aaron Keller's position. Fuck it. I guess I'm head of Microsoft because I don't even know if Aaron could do this. Like you set me down, like we're just gonna do a full relaunch of the game, basically. Like we literally just fuck it. Like we say like we're taking the game offline for 3 or 4 days and we're relaunching it. It's just Overwatch and like just sell it as a marketing fucking tactic because the game is so much better now. It genuinely is. But like that's it. Like Overwatch 2 was its shot even after all the shit. And after that, like a lot of people, I can't even just today alone, I was streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. And I cannot tell you how many people have asked me, is Overwatch worth coming back? I don't know if I haven't played this game in a long time. And a lot of people were like, yeah, I don't think I'd still, yeah, you say it's all right, but I still wouldn't. Or like, how long have loot boxes been back? Or like, whatever it is, like, you're just never going to get them, I guess. And it is really, really sad. And I don't know if there is a fix. I'm mostly just reiterating what you said, SVB. So I apologize for that.
No, it's a therapy session. We're
But
back to therapy.
It's a stigma. It really is a stigma. But I also can't deny my own feelings of like I don't like playing tank in Overwatch 2. I genuinely despise it. And every time I've come back, it makes me a little bit madder every single time. And my tolerance goes down slightly every single time. But if I come back and I play DPS and support, I have a fucking blast. And so like, yeah, we sit here and we're like, yeah, format's not the issue. I know for a fact it's not the issue. I'm 100% on board. But like, I can't help but have that feeling every time I come back and I play it for a little while and I'm like, yes, that was fun. But I'm going to play something else later. I'm going to play something else tomorrow. And like, it's sad because I think Overwatch is the best it's ever been, but I can't, how do you ignore that feeling? Don't know,
Well,
I think a lot of it's just the game's age, like, sorry, can I say something super fast, SVB?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Yeah, I think a lot of it's just the game's age as well. People were burned out right at the point in time when you've been playing the game for 4 or 5 years. It's like you're going to be hit right in the face with every bad decision, every crappy meta that the game has ever had. Flats. I mean, to be honest with you, I've been around this game just as long as you have, and you've probably played the game twice as many hours as I have, if not more. It's just the nature of like the type of content that you do. And it's like I look at some of these old Overwatch streamers that are doing Rivals now, and I'm like, those guys have been grinding Overwatch day in, day out for half a decade. I mean, I remember when Jay was playing on his Jesus account 2018 in Grandmaster. I remember queuing up in him, and he was crappy on Tracer then. He's crappy on Tracer now. Love you, Jay. But and like, man, and like I was playing at the Grandmaster level then, and I was playing like 2 or 3 hours a day. That guy was putting in at least double my hours. You know what I'm saying? And never stop. No coaching side notes, no content analysis, no 1 hour long game design discussions, like, whatever. I've survived, I guess, due to the variety of what I've done, but I can't imagine being in y'all's position and having to deal with that like day in, day out. And I think there's something to be said about, is it the term event horizon? Is that like the start of something? I feel like I'm misusing that term, of like a new game coming out and being on the cusp of like the excitement and the hype of that game with Rivals, like you were saying, Flats. Like there's something to be said about how much fun that is, like being part of like a cultural phenomena. It really does feel like, oh, you're with Overwatch all over again. So like, it doesn't matter how good Overwatch is, it's just been around for a long time. It's not going to be a cultural phenomena, and so it's not going to have the same excitement value. So I think Overwatch can continue to be relevant and should continue to try to be relevant. But obviously, I think any game should always measure its expectations.
I'm going to give Avril a chance to speak. I was going to basically just say that this is like a discussion that actually came up organically that I was wondering to bring up or not. I was like, do I ask the guys if they think Overwatch can ever like reach a higher peak again? Like the way I was going to frame it is that like Overwatch is kind of, no disrespect, a B tier game, right? It's like not the top tier in terms of popularity. And I was like, do you think Overwatch can ever be A again? And organically, you've kind of already answered in a way that at least Flat, Spilo, you guys seem to say no. So I'm going to just round the discussion by taking it to Avril and saying, Avril, do you think Overwatch could ever come back to being like an A tier, top of the market kind of game? And then any other thoughts you haven't had expressed before we move on?
Do I think it can get back to where it was at its own peak? Definitely not. But do I think it can maybe like compete with other games around like a high level? Yeah, I think so. I think it already has actually recently. Maybe, I don't know about numbers now, but like definitely numbers before Marvel Rivals release, like playbase was actively going up. And the game wasn't even as good as it was now. So like, I just think you need the game to be culturally relevant to bring people back in, which is why, like, you know, jokingly or not, I said anime. But to what Flight said earlier as well, it's like, yeah, I've seen the same things. Like, I think the one that comes forth to front of my mind the most is like when Tim the Tatman played Overwatch recently. He said it was good. His entire chat just roasted him for it. And I just thought it was sad because like the game is actually pretty good, and he thought the game was actually not at a decent state. I can't remember when exactly. I think it might have been season 15 perks. He decided to like dip back and just try it again, and he actually thought it was pretty good. That video is on YouTube for people that want to see that. But like, yeah, his chat's response was just gross, man. It was just really upsetting. Because they just wouldn't even give it a chance. So I think there's that cultural stigma. So I don't know. I think a lot of that cultural stigma does is due to Blizzard. Like, it sounds funny, but like if this happened hypothetically, it would have some level of impact. Like if Blizzard hypothetically sold itself to another company and they weren't called Blizzard anymore. Let's say they gave themselves to, I don't know, what's a good company? I was going to say like EA, but that's probably not a good idea. You know what I mean? Like Blizzard, like the Overwatch IP. Let's pretend the Overwatch IP sold to another studio or another publisher. But then
let's say Larian, right? Let's say completely unplausible, but the people who develop Baldur's Gate. Let's say someone with immense goodwill.
Let's pretend it's Larian, even though they know nothing about FPS hero shooter games. Let's pretend it's Larian, but then you secretly ported over the exact same dev team. You just 1-to-1 shifted the entire dev team from Blizzard to Larian, and now it's like boom, Larian makes Overwatch now. People are like, oh, I love Larian. Whoa, you know, they don't. Let's pretend they don't know who the developers are anymore. Just getting rid of the Blizzard like name already like removes the shitload of stigma. Like, funnily enough, I think that actually would work.
Maybe this is in bad taste, but it's the unspoken Riz versus sexual harassment meme. You know what I'm saying? But quite literally,
that's maybe
no.
Too
I
close
just
to the
think
nose,
Blizzard's.
Yes.
I just think Blizzard's like and that's ironically that is really close. Blizzard's the entire Blizzard name is just like industry tainted to a lot of people to the point where like they don't want to give it the time of day no matter what just because it's Blizzard. But like if you unironically just completely shifted the entire game 1-to-1 over to another company not called Blizzard, people would just like it wouldn't even connect to them. They all you did was like change the PR and you did nothing else. The game's exactly the same. People would think very differently about it because it literally is just like a PR thing.
No, you're very right, and that's ironically, and it's very sad because I want the game to do well again. I don't play the game. I don't make content for the game, but like I have a lot of friends and people involved, and even my own personal attachment to Overwatch, right? Like it's a thing that I feel nostalgic over. It's like something that really shaped my life. I want it to do well, but it's really sad to think that like if you didn't add, let's say, last year's worth of content, perks and stadium or whatever, and then you did this like hypothetical game transfer, like you sold Overwatch to a different game company, and then they came out with everything the developers had already been making and doing, that would be the one way to bring back infinite numbers of people who'd be like, oh, look, see, they did everything. Finally, a competent developer gave us all the things that we said, and they fixed all the problems that Overwatch had. Overwatch is saved. So it's sad, and we always like to keep the discussions constructive. Yeah, it would, and we like to keep the discussions constructive on this show. But this is one of those where I don't have an answer for the devs. I don't think any of us do. I don't think we have. Like, they've done a great job. Like, shout out to them.
I will preface one thing. I'm not saying that it's not worth doing, but I don't know what numbers Overwatch is pulling, but population seems okay. The game seems like it's getting healthy content updates. So I'm not. This isn't like a death knell here that like what can Overwatch change? It's over. Like it. I don't know anything about their finances, but it seems like
No.
it's doing okay. But if
Yeah,
if it wants to level up the game, I guess it's worth. I just don't want this to be like a trauma dump for like the
No,
the
no,
75th
no.
time in the last 2 years. So
Yeah, and I think that's another fair point to bring up is that we're only talking comparing Overwatch to its own peak, which is maybe unfair. Like it's, I think 99% of games would be very happy to be at the level Overwatch is, where it's like, it seems to have an active community, it seems to be making a good amount of money, gets loads of fun collaborations. In objective, like take the Blizzard name away. Obviously, Blizzard brings with it, it's one of the most reputable and biggest game developers. That comes with its certain expectations. But if this was some other random studio making Overwatch, you'd be like, what a success, what a roaring success that this game can stabilize at that level without like a Marvel IP behind it, right? So it's actually done a good job.
I can't wait for the Marvel videos like within a couple of months. Man, Marvel's just changed the downfall of Rivals. What Rivals didn't.
What do you mean? This already started.
Rivals, oh, all right, sick. Like there you go.
Oh yeah, we're actually like 2 months into that. You're late on the meta, brother. You gotta get going.
I've been out of the loop.
The down
This is
arrow.
time for Spilo to get back in. He can get back in.
Arrow.
Yes, we can
Yeah,
start
that's right.
hanging Marvel now, guys. This is time to get back in.
Man.
Oh,
It's
you want sorry.
No.
You go, Flash.
I was gonna say, you want a little piece of I think they just set themselves up for failure over there really quick. They acknowledged the matchmaking issues, and they said it's not EOMM, and they said they're gonna drop a video talking about it. And I think they're cooked. Like I don't think there's a win. Like no matter what they do, because if they say skill issue, you guys just aren't good. They're gonna light the Redditors on fire. They're gonna go fucking running through the streets. But if they say the matchmaking could be better, like what are they gonna do? Like the people who sell your games are you, brother. You're like it's fucking you. Like do not look in the mirror. You know, so it's like there's no winning. There's no winning in the matchmaking conversation, and they want to have it, and they went like made a public spectacle of it. Oh god, they're so cooked. Sorry.
Dude, I saw the tweet, and this is the video they're gonna release in like a couple of weeks or a month. It's like, guys, we don't have engagement optimized matchmaking. What we have is matchmaking optimized for engagement. That's not the same thing, guys. That's different. That's what they're gonna say. That's the entirety of the video right there. I've just summarized it for you guys. They wrote a paper, done multiple speeches and talks on it, and literally have a patent for engagement-based matchmaking. But they definitely don't have it in their own game, guys. No, I definitely don't have it. Yeah, that's good one, Nettie. Very good lie. Very good lie. We like that.
Well,
I can't wait to see it. It's
this
gonna
is
be
a
something.
good plug to say that we will be doing a Rivals debate. I wanted to do an Overwatch state and Overwatch and a state of Rivals. So the down arrow thumbnails are coming. We're gonna have a discussion.
Is this the one with like the up thumbnail and the other one's gonna be the down thumbnail?
Like,
is that what we're
are
doing?
we so back? And then we're like, we're not back.
Guys, instead of can it be like a stock red down trending arrow, but instead of a crying tracer, what's the equivalent in Marvel Rivals? Do a crying cloak and dagger with the stock downer. Yeah, do that one. Everyone likes doing that one in Overwatch.
Like Luna Snow with like devil horns or something. I think that's like a safe call.
So just Luna.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Luna. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's head back then. We're gonna get now that, and I really enjoyed the big picture. I think that's what I think a lot of people find valuable as well. But we would be doing a disservice to not talk the specifics of what Overwatch has done and improved, and maybe what you guys still have certain gripes with and still could improve further. So let's go systematically. Let's go the biggest, I think, probably change. I think it's fair to say in the last year or two is Stadium is probably like the biggest, certainly one of the most impactful changes, in the fact that, as Spilo already earmarked earlier, that it's got a huge fan base now and a huge dedicated community who love everything about it. So Spilo, I'll take it to you first. Stadium, sum me up. How do you feel about that addition to Overwatch?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't really know where it came from. It's like a opportunity to reimagine Overwatch. Like we said, it definitely seems like something that they're constantly trying to do. I don't know where they're going to go from here, but it definitely seemed, and it felt like it was an offshoot of that idea and that concept. I mean, it's a MOBA Overwatch, right? Like with all the build strategies, and it's really weird to kind of like look at the player base. The player base is like, I have a lot of my friends that really like Stadium, and they're either like hyper casual Mercy mains that just want to play Mercy and just sit in the back and heal or whatever, right? Or they're like very MOBA-esque strategy, min-max, whatever. I don't think you're going to get like an actual quality MOBA experience with it, but if you like the MOBA strategies and you like Overwatch, there's like a pretty decent amount of build creativity and variety. and there's some really fun things that you can do with it. I'm more of the boring, straightforward. I like Overwatch the way it is, but every time I play Stadium, I'm like, yeah, I get the appeal. So it's fun. It's cool. The third person thing was neat. They've thrown in a lot of really cool variety things, and they're trickling in new characters, and it's stayed pretty relevant moving forward. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to add.
Thumbs up from Spilo. Flats, I feel like that's a mode I've seen you play a fair amount when you do hop on Overwatch. How do you feel about Stadium?
It's the only thing I play when I come back. Like, other than today, I play for Wuyang. But it's a different way to play the game. I think it's one of the things people have wanted for years. Is just a different way to play Overwatch, because like otherwise you've been playing the same game for years potentially. And the pace is nice too. I don't know how to describe it. I know the matches are long, but individual game, like, it gives you downtime. And Overwatch is one of those games you have no fucking downtime. Like, you are just constantly go, go, go until halftime or in between rounds. But like, you get a few rounds of break and like the time to read through abilities, and or if you already know the abilities, you can just click through them and you get a minute to sit there on your phone or do whatever. Like, I think it's why games like CS and Valorant do so well. Is like, it's an investment game. You're in it for an hour, but it's not like your brain is on 110% the entire time. It's like spikes, right? Like, you know, if you're super ADHD, you know, you lock in on the game, and then it's like, well, you died. Okay, well, I'm gonna go on my phone for a bit. And then it's like, then you just scroll, you get through like 4 or 5 TikToks, and then you get back into the game on the next round. Like, it allows you to do multiple things. You don't feel like you're just like have to be locked in and engaged the entire time. And it's kind of nice. For me as a streamer, it's nice. I get to talk to chat every once in a while in between the rounds. It also just like, you can do something different every single time. You can play the same character and play it differently. You can play the swinging Ryan. You can play Fire Strike Ryan. You can play the flying Ryan, my favorite.
Yeah.
You know, you can do different things for every character, right? And it's like, you know, even if your character's not super strong and super meta, you can make it fun. And I think for a lot of people, that's kind of nice, you know? It's also a little bit less stressful than ranked. Like, you're playing ranked, but not ranked, right? Like, obviously there's a ranking system, but it, like, everyone kind of knows that like it's not like a super serious ranking system, because, you know, you start in rookie, but like you could be playing against top 500 players, because that's just the way the system
It's
works.
MMR,
So,
not SR,
yeah,
which is
right. So
unusual.
it's like, yeah, and so like the rank you see on your screen does not match what the matchmaker is giving you. So everyone kind of knows it's not real. Like, you could be rookie and losing games because you're playing against really good players, and it's like, you're not actually a rookie player. Like, you know, it's just a time investment thing, which some people could say is a bad thing, but I think that's why it's like, you know, you win, number go up, you lose, number go down, but it doesn't feel that bad, because it's like, it's not really a real number anyways. You know, rank feels more true skill, while Stadium kind of like, if I lose a couple games of Stadium, like, no, well, fuck off, you know?
Yeah.
They're actually bringing out quick play for Stadium as well. So for the people that might think like maybe Stadium has too much investment because like you play 7 full rounds of Stadium, it can like go quite a while. There's like a quick play version coming out. I think it's next season, where like
I'm actually worried
that
about
game
that.
length is reduced because like maybe it'll.
I think there's just so many. There's
too
so many
queues.
game modes to play and so many queues,
Yeah.
like between ranked. I mean, quick play, roll queue versus 5v5. Roll queue 5v5 versus open queue 6v6. Mystery heroes. Arcade is dead. Let's be honest. And then ranked, you have 5v5 roll queue ranked, 5v5 open queue 6v6 ranked, Stadium, and then quick play Stadium. Like, oh, that's just a lot of.
There's no more
I agree.
5v5 open queue to my knowledge, but yeah, it's still a lot.
Oh, is there not?
I just
I don't think so.
Oh.
But I'm not.
No. Sorry, it
definitely-
was 6v6 open queue. Sorry.
Yeah, I have the same feeling, but the thing is, like, I don't know, maybe I'm trusting too much, but I'm trusting that the devs have thought about that. Obviously, they've considered what impact that would have on the queues, and are doing it anyway because they have a good reason to. So I'll give them benefit of the doubt for now. But on paper, it sounds like it would probably fracture the player base. But I'll wait and see how it goes. But on Stadium overall, I don't think it's like it will replace the base gameplay, base game modes, or like be better than the base game mode even. But I think it's a brilliant alternative. I think it's a fantastic alternative way to play the game, especially for people that want more depth in their character, that want like a way to play the game in. I don't know if it's necessarily more relaxing. For some reason, the Stadium tends to like tilt me harder than the regular game. For some reason, I don't know why it is. I think it's because of the greater time investment. It's more gimmicky. I think there's like, I don't know. They're obviously not going to balance it as hard. It's going to be way harder to balance as well because the amount of things that are in it. And so like, Yeah, I think because the investment as well, and maybe because of how the matchmaking works. I've just had some very stompy games where like I've literally been my whole team being spawn camped, like going beyond touch the spawn door challenge, like all 5 of the enemy team looking at our spawn doors. I'm like, wow, we're getting stomped this bad, huh? So I don't know, maybe it's something to do with that. But otherwise, like the good games I've had in Stadium have been unbelievably fun. Like they've been so good. You get to those like really those round sevens where it's just neck and neck, and you make a cool plan, someone does something really cool, and it's just the kind of thing that you couldn't really get in regular Overwatch because you've built out a character now over 7 rounds. It's just you've like really extended the depth of the game, and when those good moments hit, it works really well. So I think they're improving Stadium. They're putting a lot into it. They're clearly like giving it the best that they can give, and it has its own dedicated development team. So I know they put a lot of work into that one. So, and it's still early days. I think it'll develop into an even better version of itself down the line.
My favorite Stadium moment was when we were playing with Aaron Keller and Dylan Flats, and you guys are like doing this like professional interview thing, and I'm just sitting there trying to figure out the soldier sprint build, like the heal station build, and I'm just like sweating, and I'm not even listening to anything that's being said at all. I'm like, all right, I gotta wait, and then I'm like, I'm like IRL sprinting, like ducking my head down and everything. And I'm like, dude, this is so good. I'm killing everybody in the backline, just running in circles, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're supposed to be listening to what's being said here, but yeah, okay.
I mean, it's funny because like if Stadium had released like 2 years ago when I was streaming Overwatch, I would have been hardcore on the Stadium train. I'm sure I would have been like a Stadium standalone guy where I'll like give us a separate Overwatch game because like it's funny. I still get people coming to match. Like I don't stream very much these days, and like even when I do, I just stream like random variety games to like a very small section of my community. But people still come in to be like, why don't you play Overwatch? They put in everything you ever wanted in the game. It's like there's a MOBA in Overwatch. There's hero bans. There's like a perk system where it's like I'm always like in the middle of the game. You should add some the fucking perks exist, and I'm just like, I'm sorry guys. It's like 2 years too late. I'm past it now. But in theory, Stadium is like right up my alley. Like scratches the itch. So I think it's great that they've added all these things in, and that leads us on actually. I mean, both other systems were things that I've long wanted, but. Let's start with perks first. We'll go to bans and stuff after, but perks, it's a big change. And honestly, I was shocked that they just YOLO'd it into the game. I was like, this is bold. But how has it gone down? How have the fact that you can pick from differing perks and change your character, how's that affected the game? We'll go with AVRL first this time. AVRL perks.
One of the better changes that I was going to say best, but I think like one of the better changes they made to the game because it really just changed up the way it's very small kind of details. Well, I mean, it's debatable if it's, some people may think it's like a really big deal, but like to me, they're mostly still small tweaks to the hero that you would do. It just offers like a tiny amount of depth, like a 1/10 of what you would get in Stadium, just to like change up your gameplay slightly. And I think at the highest, like most grindy, sweatiest levels, most people have a general agreement on what the quote unquote best perks are. And so like you will just kind of end up picking the same perks every game. But that's why they're going to change up perks. That's why in Season 18, they're going to end up refreshing the perks a little bit. There was a recent developer video with Alec and Custer in it talking about the Wuyang release, but they also talked about perks as well. And they did say like one of the things they want to have a goal of perks is to make it so that you do want to have perks that allow you to react to what's happening in your game. And so you can have like different perk pathways or builds in different games you play rather than it just be like, here are the best 2 perks. I'm picking this every single time. So yeah, there's still work to be done on perks, but I think they just refreshed the game in like a really healthy way. So it's been good.
Kyle, how about you?
Yeah, it's been fine. I think that, like I said, they have a long way to go to like consistently match their benchmark, which is like managing power creep to not be like way overblown. Like Avril was saying, not having the same perk choices every time. And I think one thing that they've really kind of beefed at with a couple characters, which they need to really do a better job of, is that one of the intended communicated benefits of perks was to assist with counterpicking a little bit, to like open up different playstyle, open up a little bit more flexibility of like being able to do things versus different characters if you were struggling with the matchups. And frankly, that's been mostly successful, but also gotten worse in certain aspects. Like there's certain characters that are just, they do the same thing, but they do it better. So like they actually exacerbate their counterpicking options. I think Fortify with Orisa with her minor perk, even stuff like Charge Javelin, May perks are a complete train wreck. things like Tracer, where she's just Tracer, but she's just a much better version of herself as Tracer, and really no drawbacks whatsoever. So there's still like a lot of work to be done with like making the characters like either strengthening their weaknesses, or depending on what you're playing, you have more playstyle options, because in some matchups the counterpicking can get even worse with perks, which was not what was supposed to happen. But that's the most negative thing I have to say. Beyond that, yeah, they're a little bit imbalanced, but they're like the perfect balance of like, yeah, they're kind of imbalanced, but they're not over the top imbalanced, and they're a lot of fun. It's like it's kind of worth the cost. And I'm Mr. Competitive Integrity, and I still have a good time talking about them and playing them. So
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things that's like, it goes one of a few ways. I'm gonna hit my bingo card of the podcast. I mentioned that Dota has a similar system called Innates, and has had it for like, I want to say 2 years now. And it's interesting because when it first came out, I was like, oh no, no, I don't like change. But I think the lessons they learned from it over time, because they keep obviously changing and tweaking them, is that like, because they went with a couple directions. One direction is that like, you give a hero one perk, let's say 5% better all the time, versus a perk that's situationally really good. Now in Dota, you lock into the thing before the start of the game, but people will just pick the 5% better. Like people will just always pick the one that's reliably better. And so then they've kind of realized that they need to give each perk or each innate like a gain and a cost. Like you kind of need to lose something in one direction and then gain in another direction, and then you're giving players more of a chance to like actually adapt to the particular game they're about, in the case of Dota, about to be put in based off the lineups. And in the case of Overwatch, it's like the game they're in, right? You can't just give people, like as you were describing, you can't just give them, well, this is just Tracer but like 10% better. It needs to be like, okay, your recall comes up faster, but in exchange your damage is less or something, right? It's like that way you're cycling in and out to fight faster, but your lethality goes down. Or like things like that is like what give more of a deliberate choice to the player rather than like an auto, just pick this one every time. But it's also hard because it's like a lot of heroes in a lot of situations. So I can understand that it's like, it's one of those things where you're sometimes just gonna have like garbage perks, or just perks that are like, this one's always better, just pick this one. Flats, how do you feel about perks?
Honestly, maybe this is the new casual size showing, but I think my biggest gripe with them is the way you get them. And I think that when they first came out, they were trying to fight counterpicking, like Spilo was saying, but I don't think it ended up happening. Like you said, if anything, exasperated it. So why do you have to wait to get to level 3? Why can't you just start the game and pick 2 perks from each one? And basically, what that allows you to do is, if you do want to swap, there's no issue. Like you don't get punished for swapping, because like if everyone's at level 3 and you swap, like you're getting your level 3 perk within like a kill or 2. It's really not like that big of a problem. It's just kind of annoying. And 2, it might give you more time to think about it in the spawn room. And you can actually do number 3, where it's like if you swap off and swap back, you can let them repick it again. Because like sometimes, you like, I don't know, like you locked into a perk and you're like, ah, shit, like I chose the wrong one, or that's not gonna work here. Like every time I ever played Winston, like, there were games where I'd like, well, they have no deployables, so I'm going to choose the heavy landing because they have no deployables. And then you get through first point and they swap immediately onto like Torba, Lari, you know what I mean? Like just like all the deployables, and you're like, fuck, like this sucks, like I'd love to go back to spawn. I'll lose my ult charge to get my perks back. Fuck it. Is there a little bit of a potential problem there with readability of like, wait, now that guy couldn't do that a couple minutes ago, now he can, like, well, he must have went and swapped perks. But it also sounds kind of exciting, and it obviously they clearly understand. Sorry.
No, finish.
Oh, I was just gonna say they understand that the perks are very valuable, like to the player experience, like refreshing all of these perks, trying to give new buttons, new ideas, trying to get people to interact with them even in more new fun ways. Putting it behind a wall of any, like the way it's already there, just kind of like, I don't know. I think especially if you're like maybe like a metal rank player, where it takes you maybe longer to get it through the game because you're not doing as much damage and not getting your ult as fast. You might not get to experience it as much. And there's some exciting ones. It's like, man, why do I got to wait 4 minutes into the game to get my major perk? What if I had it from the beginning? Small thing, but why not?
If you ignore like the competitive like I think complications there. I think the reason why it's that way is, I think it's just progression. Like it's the same reason why people, games encourage you to log in every day, or you have roguelikes where you're like leveling up as you go along. It's that sense of progression of like how my gameplay might change starting in the first 5 minutes and then in the next 5 minutes and the 5 minutes after that. I think if you were given that like right from the get-go, I think like psychologically, I don't think it would scratch that itch as much. So I think that was like a pretty, I think there's probably like exactly the most important reason why it's systematically that way.
Yeah, if you got your perks off rip, it would be like the game just dropped a patch that listed the perks as like a patch for the hero itself. Like it wouldn't fundamentally change the game beyond like just being a buff or like a change in the hero. I think the progression is like a really important part of the function of perks. Same as it is in Dota, like it's part of building out your character over time. Although like in Overwatch, it's obviously like a very small version of that, but that would be the point. But also, by the way, there's a nice fun way, very fun way to reset your perks if you want. Don't actually do this, but if you leave the game and come back into the game and reselect your character, you reset your perks.
You heard it.
If you're really desperate, just reset your perks.
Right.
You heard it here first, folks. AVRL
AVRL
recommends unplugging your router and plugging it back in. You heard it here first.
Not even that. Just literally like leave game, rejoin game, and you reset your perks. You lose the time that it takes you to rejoin the game, but you get to reset your perks. So that's really, 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 really what you want. So,
imagine if that was happening. Imagine that was happening on mass at pro level, and you just like as a caster, you just had to be like.
Wouldn't that be terrible, AVRL?
It would just be hilarious.
Thankfully, no support player I know would do that ever in a match. It did happen once, actually.
Oh yeah.
Did they?
It did. Yeah.
I must have missed that one.
Did they get
really
reprimanded in any way?
Yeah, it was ultraviolet. Yeah, it was ultraviolet. He picked the wrong perk on accident, and he left and rejoined.
I mean,
and the thing
that's
at pro
fair.
level is the game pauses. The game pauses when you do that, so you don't even really lose time.
So everybody knows. Yeah, everybody knows. So yeah.
So you just get to come back and you don't even lose time. You do lose like your life, and you have to respawn and lose your ult, whatever. But it depends on when you do it in the game. But
well, let's go from perks then to hero bans, and another big feature really, and one that obviously we yapped about on this podcast many a time over the years. So now that it's finally here, Spilo, I'll take it to you first. Do you want to describe firstly for anyone out of touch like myself how the system is actually implemented in Overwatch, and then what your thoughts on it are?
All right. So me and AVRL got to provide some feedback on this early in its staging. We got asked for some feedback on how to implement it. So, all right, here's how it's done. Okay, so first off, shout out to Gavin Winter for putting all the brain work in this. He's a A-tier developer. Here's how it works. So you have every team. You can't see who's on the enemy team at all. You don't know who you're playing versus. Every player on each team votes for 3 heroes that they want to ban. Any role, any hero, anything that you want. You can vote 3 DPS, you can vote 3 tanks, one of each, whatever. But you can see your teammates' bans. So you can see who's banning who on my team. But this is where it gets spicy. The bans are ordered in order of power. So if you ban number 1, this character, let's say Tracer, number 2, Genji, number 3, Lucio, the Tracer ban gets, let's say, 3 points. The Genji ban gets 2 points. The Lucio ban gets 1 point. And so all of the points from everybody are accumulated. You don't have to ban for anybody. You can ban for 2, you can ban for 1, whatever. But basically, all the points are accumulated. And then the game picks 4 characters that have the most points. However, it can't ban more than 2 heroes per role. So in other words, if the top 3 heroes are DPS, it's going to pick the top 2 DPS, and it's going to skip down until it finds either a tank or a support. And so both teams get to contribute to global bans that it ends up pulling 4 bans out there. So what it happens is there's no RNG with it, like there is with map bans. It's like whatever is the most voted character is going to get banned. Like it's just how it is. Which means that you can repeatedly target ban a character over and over again. You can protect ban. You can also signal to your team which ban that you want to play. So essentially, that's how it works. You can't target ban who's on any team without knowing them. Although at the highest level, you can kind of stream snipe and target ban, but that's a separate discussion. And that's really all there is to it. Technically, your teammates can ban your character, but it doesn't happen that often, I've noticed.
And the vote tallying is intra-team or like both teams combined? Like each team gets its own tally, or is it globally tallied?
Both teams combined. It's both
Okay.
teams combined, to my knowledge. Yeah.
Okay. And now, how do you feel about the bans?
I think it's great. I mean, I think the only downside to banning, there's been two downsides to banning. One, because ironically, the value of team play, you can be a Roadhog Malga one trick and target ban Anaz and Orisa, and your teammates will help you almost every time. They will target ban Anaz and Orisa. They'll help you out. So you have these really bad hero design outliers that are boosted a little bit by hero bans because they can target ban their weak points and get their teams to go along with them, essentially, because people are being nice, right? They want to win. So you're boosting some toxic one tricks, essentially, right? The other problem with hero bans is that there are certain people that literally cannot play the game in competitive in certain situations. So I played Freja to Masters. When I hit Masters, I literally only, like, I was playing Freya in Masters and I was getting Freya banned like 90% of games. This is several months ago or a few months ago because she was OP at the time. And like she was just banned every game. I mean, you guys all saw the Sombra. I'm surely even SBB, you've heard about Sombra with hero bans, right? Like she was banned, I think, was it 90, 95%? I don't remember exact number, but like literally 90% of games banned Sombra. Now, I know Sombra's not popular. People don't like Sombra from all roles, and it's fair, but she's definitely not that bad in all circumstances. So if you're a hero main, you're gonna have some issues with hero bans. But I think whether you're looking at it like the Roadhog Malgas getting boosted versus the Sombra Mercy players that can't play the game, which it's not that bad anymore. It's only like Sombra Zarya, I guess, who are getting banned a lot. A lot of them just kind of raise to light community perception with certain characters, but also generally hated characters or badly designed characters. Like the Roadhog Malga getting boosted because they run the lobby partly when Orisa Onizan isn't playable. That's a hero design problem that needs to be issued or dealt with, right? Sombra being hated by 95% of the community is definitely partly skill issue, but partly, right? There's a reason why everybody hates her, right? And it's the same thing goes with Mercy, and the same thing goes with whatever. So, you can, it's a little bit of self-regulation, which when you give the community that ability to self-regulate, it's going to get abused, but it also raises some pretty good points. And so I for the large part, am a fan of it. Most people who I say who don't like it are usually one tricks that are getting targeted. And I'm not saying that their opinion doesn't matter. Of course it matters. It just matters less. So that's just the nature of the game. I mean, it's just facts. Like when you're suffering is everybody else's enjoyment usually. So like, I love Sombra. Yeah, it is what it is. There's a reason why stadium support queues are crazy because all the Mercy players that can play stadium, but they can't play the real game. So I don't look at that as like, oh, that sucks to suck. That's just how it is. I'm saying like that is highlighting a real problem. I agree that needs to be dealt with, but I don't think bans are the problem here.
Yeah, I mean, there's always go ahead.
Even the negatives of the bans, I think that's still the bans functioning to its purpose. That's the bans doing its job. Even the worst parts of it, the one trick's being targeted, the Roadhogs being boosted. It's like that actually still is just the bans working as intended. That's a feature, not a bug. So you are going to ban to help your team. You are going to ban also to not play against the things you dislike, whether it because it's really strong or you just dislike playing. I think most people just dislike playing.
Yeah, I hate Roadhog.
Yeah,
but you know what? If 12 Roadhog mains get boosted by 300 SR, okay, like I guess I just have to take the bad with the good,
Also like they could get boosted, but eventually like they're still going to lose because Roadhog's just not good enough to win at a certain point. So
and
they can only get boosted to an extent.
Then he's going to get banned. Then he's going to start getting banned again. So
exactly, and then if he's so good that he's suddenly like getting pushed into GM, then he'll start getting target banned and then eventually nerfed or something like that. So yeah, I think bans are all working as intended. I mean, this is the thing that like a bunch of people clamored for that I agree with, that I clamored for as well as like, you know what, this is going to work really well. And one of the few things that the Marvel people can say was actually like pretty fairly inspired from Marvel side over towards Overwatch in terms of the Overwatch devs looked at it and said, you know what, this is a pretty good idea. We weren't too sure if this was going to be good or not, but it seems to be working their game. So don't see how it wouldn't work in our game. And I actually think the way it's implemented in Overwatch is a lot better because there's no RNG. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Flats, but there's still an RNG element involved in bans. In Marvel, where like, it spins the wheel and, it can land on the wrong one. But in Overwatch, it's just literally whatever the most popular heroes are that people are voting for. That's what gets banned, and that's how it is. So I think the Overwatch system is superior. Yeah, I think bans are good.
I'm resisting the urge to channel my inner Fredo and bring up year-old beef with Jeff Kaplan about how I sent him the freaking PDF document of why hero bans would work after testing it with a bunch of creators and giving him a 15-page spreadsheet alongside people's feedback, and then
to Fredo's credit,
and then his response just being like, "You guys think you want it, but you don't," basically. So I'm just glad they're in the game. That was like end of Overwatch 1 era, like
it's like
I'm trying to remember now. I think it was like when did Overwatch 2 launch? 2020 October, right?
2022 October, yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
I think that must have been 2020, sometime in 2020 or something like that.
Because the argument against bans in Overwatch 1 would have been like, oh, maybe we don't have enough heroes, right? So that's like a reasonable argument.
I don't think that was Jeff's argument at the time, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm giving them too much
credit.
No, Jeff probably
was.
Jeff probably did just... Did he?
Well, not publicly, but I could tell you that this was not done publicly. So in whatever vague terms I can allude to it, that was his argument.
Well, that's still silly because you just scale it down. You don't need to ban 4 characters. Ban 1, ban 2.
It's a lot of silliness.
There was a lot of silliness, but I
think the general vibe from the Blizzard development is like how much the development like philosophy has really changed in like the last 4 or 5 years. And Flats, AVRL, I mean, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. There's even like some stuff of like, back in the day we would have, back in the day, it's like it's definitely the old guard kind of has kind of sailed on, I think, for
and that's the other thing that people don't know. A lot of the people that are like shitting on Overwatch today, they're still thinking about Overwatch and thinking about Team 4, thinking about Blizzard based on the old Jeff Kaplan leadership and style of game development, and they just like can't really understand that team doesn't exist anymore. It's a brand new team that functions very differently with a different philosophy.
A lot of them just don't care, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people, that do know that because like Jeff Kaplan was a face. Like people know he left. They just don't give a fuck.
Or worse, they're really sad that Kaplan left and they think Kaplan was the best thing ever.
Right, yeah.
When in fact he made terrible decisions.
It's like it's Schrodinger's Kaplan, right? It's like he was simultaneously the success for Overwatch, but also simultaneously like they will like hold his mistakes against the current team. Like the things that he did are still held as responsible for this team, but then the things that was great about Overwatch they left with Jeff Kaplan. So it's like he's both somehow. But yeah, I think
the one thing.
Go ahead, Flats.
I just want to say about bans. The one thing about bans that I don't like for you guys is I still think that the max 2 thing is a dumb limit you guys have going with that, because like apparently like I was talking to Emong about it a little bit, where it's like the Ramatra case right now is a great example where like Mauga has it, or sorry, not Mauga, Arista has it, Hazard has it, Ramatra has it, right? Like all the block characters. I think maybe he said Mauga has it too, but like you could ban out all the really troublesome tanks, but you can't. You can only ban out 2. And then like every other game is either. I think it's
the number of tanks and supports. I wouldn't be surprised to see if like in a year or 2 that goes away, because I think you can ban out like half the support roster.
But you really do have enough. Like in Rivals tournaments, like they ban 4 characters per team, like for the enemy team, and like even then they still like they have enough supports, and they have less. I think they actually have less supports than Overwatch does.
Yeah, that's why I never hold water with the like there's not enough characters thing, because unless you can like physically lock someone out of like there's 5 supports and you ban 4, like when you have like 10, it's like it's not an issue to go down to 6. Like if the community is saying that this is so problematic that we need like we're gonna put 4 into this, that's like telling you a bigger problem than like, oh well, now your hero pool's a little bit restricted. It's like, well, you were gonna abuse some bullshit to play, so like everyone's happier in the macro that bullshit is gone.
Yeah. At the pro level, I think everyone could just play everything, but when you talk about the average player, if you ban 4 heroes in the same category, I think that might be quite damaging to like your average player whose hero.
Yeah, but think about it. Think about it you're thinking about it in a vacuum. Think about the fact that people voted in en masse, especially with Overwatch's system where it's not even random. It's like their votes totaled was still saying we hate 4 supports so much that we want them out the game. Like that would be telling you something about how horrific those impact of those guys is on the game, that they would still rather do that than ban something else. So I think even in that case, it's like, well,
They
shape
both are
up your
true.
fucking your role balance, right?
Both would be true, but it would be both true that there's something hugely wrong with a bunch of supports, and also that the average supports
It
hero
would
pool
suck
probably
for
can't handle
sure.
full
It
ban.
would suck, but it's like the players again. The players should always. The reason I was always like hero bans. Like the players are catering their own. They're curating their own game. So it's like if they say that this is so bad that we'd rather limit our own supports, like, and presumably the supports are in on voting on this because they also have a significant say, right? The two of them each
Yeah,
have a
probably.
pretty significant say.
Yeah.
They're opting into this. They're like, yeah, we hate this so much, we're gonna do this. So like, the players are deciding. It's like it self regulates, right? So yeah, I think. Anything else you guys want to add on the bans? Anything like you want to see it expanded? Some changes to it? How does it work at the pro level?
Totally different.
Completely
system.
different. I can explain if you want. The pro level is more like you normally play best of 5. Every map you play, you do 1 ban each per team. So that's actually less bans at the pro level because the bans like are more impactful generally speaking. Like 1 ban at the pro level really changes up different compositions and what's viable. So ironically, like at the pro level in Marvel, there's like way more bans. The pro level in Overwatch, there's less bans by half. Yeah, and then you ban one team bans first, usually the high seed. They ban a DPS support or tank, and the other team has to ban a different category. These bans are public. You know what they are straight away. So one team bans Tracy, the other team has to ban either a tank or support, and that also protects the DPS. So if you're trying to, let's say for example, our team really needs a Lucio, we're gonna ban a Lifeweaver first or whatever, or maybe more like Anna. You have an Anna play, let's ban your Anna. Let's protect our Lucio. You can't ban another support, which means we get to protect Lucio for our composition for this map. In the next map, you have to choose different bans, etc. I can explain more in detail, but that's the general gist of it.
It's
Question.
awesome. Honestly, it's so cool.
Is the ban for everybody or for the enemy team?
A global.
Everybody.
Global.
Is there a lot of mirror matchups still?
No.
Well, it can be. It just depends on the teams. It depends on the current meta and depends on the team's like general style. The most recent tournament, we saw a lot of different styles. So only teams with different styles in terms of their team strengths mirror match, and otherwise they didn't really mirror match that hard. So you still had different styles coming in, and obviously you can target ban things away to like force different matchups.
It's an interesting system because it's like
It
you
is-
can
it
see
is
some
really good.
downsides, but also it seems to make like I think the bans should have a strategy to them, like at the pro level, right? Like I think it'd be pointless if they were very brainless, if they were just like we ban X and you ban X and it's like whatever. Like there should be some like the coaches have to earn their money with the ban. So like that's I think that's fun. I think that's where the fun is. So I like that. It's kind of interesting. It's like, yeah, okay, well you're not even banning to ban a thing. You're banning so that they can't ban in your role for this map. Like that's interesting. I think that's a fun mechanic.
Have you
Very
seen Rivals
strategic.
at all?
It is.
Who, me, or I haven't? No, I don't know the bands.
Oh,
how they
these two. Have you guys seen Rivals' format? Just
Yeah,
curious.
I casted Rivals really early on, so I have seen it. Yeah,
The new one.
I watched. I watched the
but like
NV
not the
Clutch,
current,
but
not the
that's all I
current like
saw.
8 bands.
The new one is
system, no.
really good. I would look into it if you get time. Basically, you like teams legitimately lost the LAN that just happened off their ban phase. Like they just got outbanned and that was it. Like they were cooked.
Yeah, draft wins happens in MOBAs a lot as well, which, again, you can swing it either way. Some people hate that. Some people are like, well, they're not losing because of their gameplay. They're like got out-drafted. It's like, yeah, but they're a pro team. Like, this is part of the fucking game. Like, you got to bring some strategy to the thing. Like, you can't be a
I
fucking
think being
idiot.
undraftable, unbannable is also part of the strategy as well. Like if you're a team that can be target banned, that is a weak point of your team.
Yeah, 100%. It means you're a little bit gimmicky, right? It means that, like, you're potentially exploiting something and the other team can, like, have a bit of autonomy to be like, nope, can't do that.
Also, Overwatch esports, the ban system preceded the ban system in the live game. So I don't know if the esports was like used as a testing ground first, but it was a thing that was brought up a long time where the teams and people in esports wanted to try the bans, and then they did try it out. They tried it up for one tournament last year, and not for the entire year, just for literally one tournament. And it was so good that after that, the rest of the season was like, man, this is just worse without the bans. And so this entire year, everything had bans in it. And with bans in it this year, it's been like a blast. It's been so good.
Awesome. And while we're on the bans topic, I actually went and dug up. It was the thing that I sent Jeff was like end of 2020, December 2020-ish. So that's how long ago we were. I mean, I know the discussion around bans has been since the game launched, basically. But yeah, that was that. Let's go then to map voting, a banning of different forms, banning the map in some ways, you might argue. Now, this one I've seen some controversy around because it's RNG, right? Like you each vote, and then it kind of spins the roulette wheel, and then the one person who voted for Havana gets Havana or whatever. So how do we feel about map voting as a concept, and then how it's been implemented into Overwatch? Flats, I'll go to you first.
I don't think I'm qualified to speak on this one. I barely even use the system.
Okay, well, in theory, are you for or against, like, just the idea of map voting?
I'm either the type of person that wants everything to be like voting the majority or always random. Having
Right.
one be the majority for hero bans and then random for map voting seems a little silly.
Spilo, how about you? Where do you land on map voting?
I'm fine with it. I think the reason that it's a little bit more random is because there's a smaller pool, so it's really easy to like really like tailor your gameplay experience to the point to where there's like no variety whatsoever. Like I think if every silver gold player had their way, they'd never play Flashpoint and King of the Hill. And that one is a very much a like a lagging perceptions point, not completely, but at least partially. Like a lot of the complaints with Flashpoint about like respawns and walking simulator haven't been true as of the most recent update, but like gold players don't know that yet, or they haven't experimented. Like even the map reworks have made the maps better. So it's like I think that's good that there's a little bit of RNG to get like a little bit of forced exposure. Like imagine if Sombra had 100% ban rate, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to an 80% ban rate or whatever. Like that's, but I mean, overall, I don't really have a really strong opinion on it. I was open to the idea. I'm not really against or for map bans. They're fine. I think as long as there's enough variety in the game. My only thing is, I think like in quick play, map voting probably should be something like. I think, for example, they did a lot of like the map reworks I was saying, right? And still people are not voting for them in quick play, which is like the place that you should be playing new maps. And so I think they're trying to figure out a way to like motivate players to try some of the newer maps. I don't know. Players just don't like new things, man. They don't like new things. They don't like Atlas. They don't like New Junk City. They don't like this. They don't like that. They want to go back and play King's Row for the 7,000th time, right? And it's like you kind of need to give them a kick in the pants to try some of the newer things. And I think something like an XP card and quick play, 10% more match XP or something like that could be a way to do it. But overall, map voting's been fine. I haven't really had a problem with it.
It's like the complete opposite when a new hero releases. Everyone's just like, let's all play Wuyang, and now support queues are like 30 minutes long. So
yeah, but then if Wuyang was even slightly overpowered, you're gonna see a mass ban, right? Like that's like, or perceived to be overpowered. You're gonna see the mass bans come out.
Yeah.
So people homogenize very quickly, which I think I do think it makes sense in the route of map voting, because it's like with a hero ban, let's say you are a Sombra one trick, by sheer like numbers, you'll eventually get your hero through. Like you're not banning the hero, and by the process of tallying, you'll eventually get a few games where you get to play Sombra. But like if you like some unliked map, Circuit Royale, I don't know what map people hate these days, but like let's say Circuit Royale, and it was purely majority, you would like, it would homogenize. I think it would like you'd never see Circuit Royale. I think
you probably literally would never see some maps, like literally never, because it would always be like 5-2 or 4-1.
Exactly.
Like you would never see.
So and then the players would complain. They'd be like, "Oh, we're only playing." So yeah, I can understand it. AVRL, how do you feel?
I think the devs said that like the reason why they have RNG in the map banning process is because they want like the one dude who votes for one different map and their votes like matter, even though that like contradicts the reasoning in the hero bans. I think that, I don't know, they just feel differently about maps. Maybe like the one player RNGing his 1 out of 10 vote for a map that no one else wanted is like less impactful in terms of how bad it could be.
Well, I'll tell you what it is, because it's like if you're, as the ban system as you've described it is based off points, right? So your points still have value. Like you in the end result, let's say the 3 heroes you voted for did not get banned, you still sent their total somewhere, right? Whereas the map voting is is binary. It's like you're either playing this map or you're not. So it's like you feel like you did nothing. Whereas at least maybe you pushed one hero towards getting banned, or you pushed one hero away from getting, like you did something to affect the outcome. Whereas with the map voting, if you don't get your say, you're just done. Right.
There's 43 heroes and 3 map choices.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that to me is it's as simple as that.
Yeah. But overall, I think like people wanted map banning. I think people wanted more choice in terms of like how they want to be able to.
Is there a random option, by the way? Like the 3 and then like a 4th that says random?
No,
it's
I
cool.
no,
Like, if you
there's
get
not.
3
You
shit
have
map
to-
choices, just hit random and see what happens. I'd want
Fuck.
that.
I think you just don't vote. I
Map
think you just don't
roulette?
vote if
That
you
would
get
be
3
funny.
shit choices.
That'd be
Someone's
Yeah,
gonna
just
vote
don't
though
either.
in the lobby.
That'd be funny.
Oh, you mean
mean-
like
you
if there's
mean-
3 bad choices and you pick
Right.
random
Yeah.
and it just goes to a 4th
Yeah.
different map?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and
fourth,
it
yes.
like
goes-
different map.
That's
and it
interesting.
freaking
Maybe I
goes
should put
to
that in.
like it goes to like a Black Force deathmatch, like a completely it's the wrong map for the wrong mode. You just have to play Overwatch and like crap.
goes to
guys,
I'm
Stadium?
in. I'm
no.
so
Didn't
down.
even choose Sam, it just chooses-
Imagine the Easter egg if
Yeah,
it brings
yeah,
up the maps that they took out of the game. Like it just sends you on Hanamura, like OG Hanamura.
Yeah,
You
just
like,
Hanamura,
you take a
exactly.
slight risk that it might take
Yeah.
you to Paris, and you're like, do I hate this map enough to end up on Paris potentially? Like fuck
Dude,
it.
people would people would go for that.
People would do
They
it.
just
Yeah,
vote for
yeah.
it every
They
time.
would.
Yeah.
They would.
do it.
Yeah.
Honestly,
for the chaos.
should. But especially for like an April Fool's Day. Like, dude, imagine that. Like, just hit rank.
That'd be
and
great,
hit
though, like,
random
you
and
are-
appear
yeah,
on
you-
Hanamura.
That would be funny.
If you randomed into Lunar Colony,
for
that
rank,
would
but
be
that would
great.
be
That would
funny.
be fucking hilarious.
Gosh, Lunar
Okay.
Colony.
Still cooking ideas, Flash. Still cooking even when you're not playing. You're still like, yeah, fuck it, random 4th map.
Yeah, like I think the only downside is like the niche player that really wants to play a map that other people don't want to play will feel like, damn, I never get to play my favorite maps. But
Mhm.
for the majority of the player base, because it's a voting system, the majority of the player base are getting what they want, which it is going to be obvious choices where people are going to choose the obvious maps that they like. You know, people are generally going to choose Escort and Hybrid over a Clash or Flashpoint, right? And that's just, you know, those maps are just not as good. Or, you know,
Go ahead, finish your thought.
and so, like, I think, you know, at the end of the day, the majority of the people are still getting what they want, even if like a small number of people are probably not getting as many flashpoints as they would like if they really like that.
You know, I was gonna make a really facetious point. I was gonna say, do you think there's some part of Aaron that's like really smug that Kings Row is the map he made, and it's like everybody loves Kings Row? He's like sits there quietly, like, yeah, I did that. Like,
Yeah, but you made
shut
Dorado.
the fu- But you take the wins. You don't count the
Nice
losses.
points.
You
Nah,
take the wins.
I don't let him let it. I'm not letting him live it down anymore.
Fired.
Maybe we bring that up. Is it one good, one bad? Okay.
See, because Kings Row is a great Rhine map, and Dorado not a good Rhine map, I think. So, I see you there.
the duality
You know
of
what,
Keller. He giveth with one hand and he taketh away.
Ryan's not even fun in Overwatch 2, let's be honest.
That's true. Rhine's not good anyway. That's actually the truth.
Yeah.
Sad. Okay, well, since we talked about map voting, we may as well talk about some of the map. I mean, there's been a lot of map stuff. There's been new maps and there's been map changes. So, how do we feel about the state of maps in Overwatch? I'll also allow this to segue dangerously into talking about game modes, which is a really a dynamite keg that I'm throwing in here with these two on the call. But how do you feel about maps and modes? So I'll go to, you know what, Flats, I'll let you start because I don't know how long these two are gonna go once
Okay.
it gets going.
I remember like a few seasons ago, I think one of my big things was like, hey guys, like, can we just focus on what we got? Like, you know, I know they want to keep cooking more game modes, and like, I know like they're pushing players towards the new things. I get it, but like, you know, you only put out 3 or 4 maps a year and up to 6 game modes at the time with Clash, and it's like, guys, you could go 2 years before getting a hybrid map or a control map or something like that. Like, can we focus on what we got? And I think they got that message. I think it was received loud and clear, and they're trying to work on what they've got and making maps for those. And also, they also took the L on Clash. I gotta respect that because, like, man, that if we're actually in Stadium, low key, it's actually kind of fun. In base game, ass. But like, real talk, I think they're doing the right thing, trying to flesh out more maps for the current game modes. Hopefully, there's even more of those coming. But it's just going to be like a slow, steady pace because, like, as we talked about at the beginning, I think they're at their capacity for content. It seems like. Are the maps fun? I actually have not played the new map. I saw it. I've seen all about it. I just haven't really played it myself, so I'll let them speak on it. Because it's a Flashpoint map, I believe. But at least from what I've seen, the reworks looked really good. And from the reworks I played like before, like I've seen it. It looks really good. I think they identified a lot of the issues with those maps, and I really got to give them credit for doing that. And hopefully they just keep doing it.
I mean, now we're gonna open this can of worms. I'll take it to AVRL first, who's not very vociferously. AVRL, how do you feel about the map states? Maybe you wanna riff off of what Flat said about like whether there's too many maps and like the fact that they're refocusing on maps, but then also various changes they've made to various game modes.
I respect that they're willing to rework maps and then just like completely take out the maps from the map pool that are not working. So, I'll give the kudos to the development team for that, because that's actually pretty basic. I think the old Overwatch 1 development team would just like be so uncomfortable with that. I think Jeff Kaplan would just not like the idea of removing maps from the game at all. We even saw it with the start of Overwatch 2, the fact that they just completely deleted Assault essentially from the game. They just killed 2CP, right? That was the right move. I know some people do like that, but the majority of gamers don't. So, I am still gonna have. I generally do not prefer the new game modes to the old ones. I think all the new game modes are not that great. Flashpoint has at least been improved with the reworks. So, again, bonus points to that. I think Flashpoint is better, but I don't see the appeal of it over the base game modes. Like Flashpoint to me will still always just be like, it's essentially Control, but like 5 times, but all on the same map, and you don't load into different maps. You just play 5 different control points on the same map. Like, it just doesn't do enough for me. And then, I've talked a lot about Push. Clash has very similar issues, but even worse. Really, I don't like the idea of them constantly adding in new game modes. I prefer them to be able to just identify, here are the game modes that we do really well, here are the game modes that really work. Let's keep adding more maps and more interesting maps for these game modes, rather than a ton of new game modes and and not even a ton of new maps for those game modes, because it's really slow. We've had a slow trickle of new maps for the new game modes, and for the longest time, you get a Flashpoint or a Push, it's just 2 maps. Clash started as 2 maps as well, and they're probably not going to do any more maps for Clash. And that's it. You don't even have variety there, because there's just not enough maps. And by the way, part of the reason why Clash is better in Stadium, by the way, is because it's smaller. Because the worst parts of Clash are the A and E points. The points at the very end are the worst points of Clash, because various reasons that it feels super unfair, and the game is forcing a result onto you rather than that naturally occurring. Like, obviously the defended advantage on A and E is crazy for where the defending team is, and there are similar issues on Push, but like less pronounced. And I don't have to go into those, but yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff they're trying to put into the game where they've just overcooked on it, and the new game modes is not it. They should just do more hybrid, more escort. If it was up to me, every map would be escort, because I think escort is generally the most well-designed game mode.
I wonder if, before we take it to Spilo, and of course I'm very curious about your thoughts, I wonder if this is one area where the lack of, let's say, casual, detached attention is in Overwatch's favor, because I think what you're describing, AVRL, is like a clear downside to the beholdenness of a certain release map, right? Like being obliged as a developer to be like, we have to release a new game mode every year, right? Like I remember when Overwatch 2 launched, like the road maps were everything. Like you had to drop the road map to be like, okay, in season this we're gonna get this, season 2 we're gonna get this, and we promise we're gonna give you a new hero every 2 seasons and a new map every 3 seasons. And it's like, now there's not that need to satisfy like this casual player base who's going to come back for the map. I don't know how much of that's happening. So I feel like maybe they could just take that back burner and say, look, you guys don't give a shit if we release a new map. You guys don't give a shit if we make a new game mode. Let's just like stop all that noise and just do what we got to do, right? I wonder if that's the case. Spilo, go ahead.
I mean, I guess it's really easy, low-hanging fruit to talk about like the game mode diversification. I feel like it was incredibly forced and just completely unnecessary. I think Push is fine. I think Flashpoint's fine. My problems with Clash obviously were like with the game mode and them pulling the plug, but also we've had this feedback loop with them for a lot recently. Like Flats was saying, where it's like, guys, like we don't need more new game modes. Like there's only so many times that you need to reinvent the wheel. Like let's make the maps that we have better. Release a new map every 6 months or so. I don't know if it's just me, but I just don't freaking care about new maps all that much. I'm interested in map reworks, and I think new maps are fun and all, but like I just don't get it. Like I don't know why that there was like this concerted effort for a while to like constantly squeeze out new maps and new modes. I don't get it. Like I think new maps are fine, but it felt like an odd priority, and I think that's slowed down a little bit recently. And it seems like they've kind of dumped Clash, and they're going to kind of work on creating new maps or fixing the ones that we have. And I think they've done a pretty good job with Atlas. The New Junk City Sirivasa reworks look really great. They feel much better. They've definitely improved that game mode as a whole much more. They removed the glass. They, they've done map reworks on Junkertown. They did map reworks on Dorado. They kind of did one in Circuit. It was pretty crappy, but it's at least better than it was. It's like, yeah, like that's good for me. I don't really care. My main complaint, like if I'm going to be a negative Nancy here, it's I think that they really haven't given us anything good for hybrid or escort that's new. I think Samoa was like honestly okay for a King of the Hill map. I think that was like pretty good. But Circuit is technically Overwatch 2. I don't know if it's the same map design team. So because some of these are kind of not, there's not like a really new escort hybrid map, but Circuit is just like butt cheeks and the rework didn't change that much about it. I think Shambali is garbage. And that map also has major issues as well. And what's the other one I'm thinking of? Paraíso? Yeah, it's just terrible. Just a terrible map. Probably one of the worst Rhine maps actually in the game, coincidentally. So I guess for me, it's like I want to see more escort and hybrid because I think it's a fun, not fun new, but it's a fun game mode where like there's a little bit more defender's advantage and it's a little bit more static than some of the other game modes, which I think is a good change of pace. But I don't think they've not really released a good new escort or hybrid map since Overwatch 2. Like all the good escort hybrid maps, like you could say King's Row is pretty good. Blizzard Rule is generally pretty well received. I think Midtown is okay. Maybe Midtown's okay. Maybe Midtown, but even Midtown is not like great. There's just like a lot of like those maps that I just like. Rialto is pretty good, right? But that's again not Overwatch 2. I would love to see them like the current map design team to like actually try and make a proper escort hybrid. By proper, I mean like defender's advantage, but not overwhelmingly so. And like some of the more open space lessons I've learned with the other game modes just don't really feel like they've been applied to some of the newer escort hybrids.
Yeah, this is one of those things, and we've probably had this discussion at some point over the years in the podcast talking about maps and stuff, but who knows how long ago that was, so it's worth reiterating. I feel like the thing about different maps quote unquote allowing different strategies, it's like it's one of those things where it comes from a different game and it doesn't work in this game, right? It's like it's a relic from RTS where it's like a different map will allow different strategies to exist, right? And if you don't change maps, then the game gets very boring very quickly, right? It's like, so in the example of an RTS, it's like, okay, in this map, there's these, 2 out of 3, let's say StarCraft, let's talk about StarCraft, there's like 3 races, and this race is always favored in maps which are defender-centric, right? This race will always win. So we need to create a map where, like, you can't have 2 bases for free. You're only going to get 1 base for free. And that allows the other guy to now rush. But now this guy knows that this map is bad for that. So he can preemptively do another. So it's like what it's allowing is a diversity of strategy that doesn't really exist in Overwatch. Like usually it's the opposite in Overwatch. Like if you really mandate a map doing something, it just forces you to play only one way on that map. Or like you have only, there's never really like okay, well this allows me to take 3 different ways around it. It's like now we just all have to deal with the oppressive high ground and they're going to put snipers up there and we have to find the answer to this thing. So it has the opposite impact on Overwatch that it's supposed to have.
Yeah, I think just Overwatch 2 in general is just like a much more like middle of the road. Like I think like a great example is all the flashpoint changes. So if you don't know, like all the flashpoint changes, they've opened up a lot of the point chokes on that map. So it's like, and then they've also added a speed boost from spawn. So if you're a slow character, you can get out of spawn. And then they also changed all the spawn points in Flashpoint, which I don't know why this was ever the case, but they used to, I don't know if you guys remember, you'd spawn like in the back of certain Flashpoint spawns. So you had like 5, 7, 8 seconds just to get out of the spawn door. So if you pick Zenyatta on Flashpoint or a hit scan or whatever, you're freaking walking for like 20 seconds before you even get to the point. So they did a lot of targeted changes that Flashpoint's still a great mode for dive characters or brawl, like tracers and stuff like that are going to feel really good Flashpoint, right? It's still better for tracer, right? But the changes they did were specifically so that slower characters can still function. And it's the same thing that they did with a lot of like the Junkertown, right? Like Junkertown is still objectively a phenomenal sniper map, but it's not so oppressive that you can't play other characters. And I think that's the goal. Like I like map variety. I want sniper maps. I want dive maps. I want brawl maps, but I don't like you can't play this character on this map. Or if they have a widow on Shambali Monastery, it's over. Like you're just done. Or if you don't have a way of breaking this choke, you're just done. There's just like there's nuance there, right? And I think some maps have showcased better aging over time than others. Like Circuit Royale is still just garbage. Like it's still just a wind tunnel of agony. And that's why it's just so out of place, considering how much work that they've done with some of the other ones.
And Any other
You're gonna hate that I
thoughts?
like Circuit, by the way.
Ooh.
What is it?
You're gonna hate that I like Circuit.
I mean, I don't think it's stupid that anybody likes Circuit. You know, like my wife hates Flashpoint and King of the Hill, but she's also a Widowmaker main, so like it makes sense, you know.
But AVRL's famously the anti one-shot guy, so you think he'd hate Circuit Royale?
Well, that's because I don't know. At least at pro level, that you don't actually see that many snipers. Widowmaker doesn't get played anymore.
It's just
I just like that it's a
yeah.
different. It's just a different type of map design. Like it just forces different strategies, so you have to like kind of play the game in a slightly different way. It just kind of shakes up
Mhm.
the meta a little bit, so that when you know you have to play Circuit, you have to sort of it's not the same Overwatch game. You have to play a slightly different Overwatch game, and I think that's good. But if you had to play it over and over and over, I can see why it wouldn't be good.
Fair enough. Any other thoughts on maps, modes, anything like that before we move to the next topic? No? Okay. And yes, eagle-eyed viewers, this is an Overwatch Calorie t-shirt wearing in honor of my Overwatch podcast return, gifted to me by the GOAT, Xeno5, when I met him at BlizzCon. So shout out. Overwatch Calorie ironically helped me prepare for this podcast, because I just went through and looked at all the Overwatch Calorie tweets for like the last year and noted down all the changes that they had listed were coming. So I was like, oh shit, they added a new map in there. So I was like, all right, cool. Talk about new map. Oh, they changed that about oh shit, talk about this. So shout out Overwatch Calorie. Well, yeah, so we talked about maps and new maps. What about new heroes? Those are still churning out at a pretty regular rate. Of course, Wuyang today, I believe, was made playable as like a preview. And obviously, you guys feel free to share your first thoughts on Wuyang, but also just generally, how have you felt about the release of new heroes? I'm thinking as well, like Freya, I think Juno as well, we can say potentially if we want to go a little bit further back. How have the hero designs been in the new hero stuff? Let's go with AVRL first. AVRL.
Yeah, I think like everything after Malga has been good. Venture, Juno, Hazard, Freya, Wuyang. So far, at least we've only just seen Wuyang as like literally dropped today, right? So still we'll just hold out on that one. But baseline seems interesting, a very different design. Especially on support. Support, I feel like, is really tough design space-wise, because you kind of have to do some sort of healing, and there's only so many different ways you can heal in the game. So he's kind of got like a mixture of Zenyatta healing and Mercy healing, so like a bit of both, but not like the same. So yeah, it's just a very different type of hero and a different type of ultimate that we haven't seen before as well. A lot of support ultimates tend to then just become some sort of like AoE thing. You don't want to get caught in the Marvel Rivals design of like big circle of healing or damage. So you don't want to get trapped in Overwatch with every support ult with some big circle of something. So Wuyang is just like, it's another like Ana type of ultimate where like I'm gonna put an ult on an ally, or you can put it on yourself actually, and then it does something to your ally and helps them in a big way, which I think is like, a bit of a departure from some of the ultimates, which is nice. But yeah, and I think Freya was good. I think Hazard's been good. I think Juno's been good. I think Venture's been good. All these designs have been really nice. Even looking back now, like, I still think Malga is probably the biggest L we've taken so far in Overwatch 2 in terms of design. Soldier's still my favorite hero in the game. Junker Queen is still really well designed. I know Kiriko is like super popular and everyone kind of dogs on her just because she's like way overplayed and too many people like her. So it's like kind of fun to hate Kiriko, but there's a couple of things I don't like. I'm not a big fan of Suzu still, but beyond that, I think I respect the rest of the kit and like what she brings to the table. I think Lifeweaver is probably like second after Malga in terms of like poor design, but I think they just sort of missed the mark in terms of support design on that one, and so Lifeweaver just still to date doesn't really bring enough to the table. Probably deserves a bit of a rework. Alari is like a very interesting support because she's one of the few supports that's like a little bit more damage orientated, which I think is another great way to just like be different in the support lineup rather than just be the same as every other support. So she at least has like a damage ult, which is like very different and unique for a support, because most supports are super defensive ults, and here you have just like literally an offensive only ult, right? So it's very interesting in that regard. So I think most of the heroes are pretty good outside of like 2.
So yeah, they're pretty good. You're gonna take some misses, but pretty good track record from AVRL's description. What about Flats? Flats, how do you feel about the heroes that have come, let's say, in the last year or so?
Well, I'll start with Wuyang today. I mean, his kit feels great, but man, their numbers are just so off. Like, I don't know how much you guys have gotten to play today, but just like you have to you have to commit your big cooldown, like your wave for any kind of self healing, self sustain, or anything like that, and your whole kit basically revolves around it. It doesn't even feel like it hits that hard. I think he's super savable. Like his left click feels like fucking phenomenal. Like whatever crack they put into that thing is like, give me more of that shit. But and they'll figure it out. Like they're probably gonna have to tweak like the cooldown on it. They'll probably have to tweak like the healing for the beam or the resource in the beam. There's a few things they got to change with them, but they'll figure it out. That being said, I mean, I'm here to give you the outside perspective. That's the whole point, right? I think Overwatch needs to look itself in the mirror and realize that its pacing for heroes is too slow. And before somebody freaks out, someone's out there, I can already go, I would rather have a high quality hero and wait years than get some slop. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I don't think this Overwatch team is incompetent and can't still pump out the quality hero that it currently does at a faster pace. Because if you like, at least in my opinion, traditionally, most players play one role. They play tank, they play DPS, or they play support. In the current Overwatch format, you get one hero a year. If that hero is not your cup of tea, or you don't like them, you could go 2 years without getting anything new to play. And I think that's way too slow in today's current day and age market. I think your number one competitor is going to monthly hero releases. Granted, I think there's a good chance they crash and burn on monthly. I think that is absolutely fucking insane. So far, we're 2 heroes in. So far, so good. The new hero Blade that just came out, he feels a little underpowered. People thought he was actually bugged because he felt underpowered on his blade, like his actual melee. Turns out he wasn't. But, you know, it could be one of those situations where people just haven't learned how to play him yet. Give it some time. But so far, so good. Now, I'm not saying you need to go to 12. I would maybe consider 6 or 5. And the reason why I say that is, one, the biggest one being that, you know, you're an attention-based economy. You are fighting with every other free-to-play game, especially in the shooter market and the hero shooter market, for people's attention and people's money, especially in a time where we potentially are taking an economic downturn. So with that being said, Overwatch is at a disadvantage. They have to create original characters every single time. Marvel can pull whatever the fuck it wants out from its thing. However, Marvel has made some great mistakes, as we are learning. It appears they're already a year plus in planned. So there's a big problem right now where people are saying there's too many DPS and not enough tanks and supports. And from what we've learned, it sounds like they're already locked in for the next year and there's no changing the direction because they're so locked in on their new content strategy. They cannot divert. Like, it's not possible. They're so the train is so rolling so heavy, they cannot change. And they might actually just release a bunch of DPS from what it sounded like they were saying. I think Overwatch does the support better than anyone. I think that their support in general is phenomenal. Tank and DPS, I'm not going to lie to you, I think Malgo was a giant miss, and Hazard less of a miss. And at the time, I liked him when he came out. As time's gone on, I've started to like him less and less. And I have a lot less faith in the Overwatch team in the tank department, personally. DPS, I think they could do fine as well. I think that would be difficult to do, but I think it's something they need to look in the mirror and consider as a real possibility. Because a fracture happened in your player base, like your potential player base. And not to come all the way back to the conversation we had earlier about like people playing different games, but I really think that the reason why Overwatch is quote a B tier game is because people suck at hero shooters and they're really fucking hard. And the reason why I mean they're hard isn't just like the mechanics. I mean like it changes so heavily from game into game out, day into day out, right? Like week into week, like month into month out with balance patches. Like the whole game gets flipped on its head. Like, you know, and something like Valorant, yeah, like different characters become meta or not meta, but You still have the same guns. Like the gunplay is very similar, but like depending on what you're playing with a hero, like you could be playing a whole new skill set. And a lot of those people right now, whether you like it or not, are probably playing both Overwatch and Rivals. Your player base probably is playing both. Most of them are probably playing both. And I think when you're fighting for their attention, there is nothing out there that ever beats a hero release. And I've spoken to former Overwatch executives that are no longer there in the past, and they always said that for years they've tried everything. They tried in-game events, out-of-game events, tournaments, Twitch drops, everything to mimic the hype and engagement that a new hero brings, and they never get close. It's not even fucking close. So, it'd be nice that if there's a hero that comes out that's maybe a bit of a miss, you don't have to wait 2 years to get another one. You'll get a second one at the second half of the year. I don't think that's an unrealistic ask of this Overwatch team.
Very thorough point and explanation there, Flats. Also made me think of the bell curve meme where it's like, like at the bottom end, there's like a guy who's like, just release more heroes, 5 head. And then in the middle, there's like guys who are like, you can't just release new heroes. Like there's so much intricacy involved. And then Flats comes along the other end and he's like, just release more heroes. You guys have tried everything else. Just release more heroes. Like put your dev effort into new heroes. You can't replicate it any other way. So
Can I ask Flats a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just for clarification. So like how many heroes does Marvel Rivals have a year at the moment? Is it like 8?
12.
Something like that?
It's legitimately 12.
Do you think 12? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Like in terms of 12?
No. I don't know if I'll reiterate one more time. I think they are going to crash and fucking burn. I think that right now. It's too many too fast, but also like, I mean, like they might go the route where they just keep copying like certain support things, right? Like you might be like another circle of healing, haha. Like they might end up doing that. And it's like, okay, like what are we fucking doing? You know what I mean? And to some level, I don't even think that's a bad thing. You can have 2 heroes that do similar things. There's nothing wrong with that, realistically. Not every character needs to be so unique that they have no overlap. But, like, 12 heroes a year is fucking insane, Like, even, like, not even just from, like, a content release strategy, but a balance strategy, too. Like, you're gonna have, like, for example, the new character that came out, Blade, I have a feeling he's going to end up being like Torch, where if you guys haven't followed Rivals recently, Torch came out in season 1 and he was like, oh my God, this character's fucking terrible. It's character's ass, right? And so they buffed him, they buffed him, they buffed him, they buffed him. Then he became meta and everyone started playing him. Since then, he has been nerfed at least 4 or 5 or 6 times and is a perma-ban best character still in the game. He is actually as weak as he was on release and he's a perma-ban. Why? Because when he came out, no one knew how to play him and they had no idea and they didn't play it right. Then when he became meta, everyone learned how to play him, learned the play styles, and now you have to ban him or he'll take over every lobby. So a character like that took like 3 months to come up with like, oh shit, this is really fucking strong, right? You're putting a new one in every month. And if they're kind of complicated, like Blade is a little bit, the new character that came in, where it's like, it might take a few weeks for people to learn how the character plays, to like actually understand it. You're going to like, the balance is going to go off the rails because you have new characters that are coming in. They want those characters to be somewhat strong. So people play them, but then like the other characters, they haven't gotten them enough time to like, the community hasn't had enough time to play them yet. So they're buffing and nerfing those. And the power levels are just spiking and falling so fast that, you can end up in situations where you want to ban 6 characters and you only have 4 bans. You're like, what the fuck do we do? No matter what we ban, we're going to have to play something shit. That's why I think it could really crash and burn really hard. And I don't think Overwatch should even go close to that. I'm just saying like 3 a year is too low.
I think I did the maths really quickly. So Overwatch seasons are 9 weeks. If you did a hero every season, you'd have roughly 5 to 6 per year, which is actually, you know what? If the Overwatch team can pump heroes out that quickly at a high level quality, I'd be for it. I'd be for 1 hero per season for sure. It's only up to 6 per year. That's not that bad.
Well, in the midst of all this, Spilo went to the Iris, had a good little meditation, and he came back to us. Spilo, what has the other side told you? What has the gods bestowed upon you?
I think it's the old cadences from their emphasis on like the lore and the character building. You know, like if you think back to like why hero release has always been historically so low for Overwatch, I don't really know what to compare it to in other games, but you think about like how thorough something like a I'm trying to think like what a good example in like Overwatch one. Like there's always feels like there's a lot of work done in the voice acting department, their place in the lore, their personality, the hype up to the character, the design of the kit, the interactions with the other characters. And I'm not saying that
Right.
Rivals or other games don't have that. It just feels like it was very much an emphasis of like it was a big deal when a character dropped, right? Like it affected everything. Like every character comes in swinging, and like think about like the Orisa drop or the Doomfist drop. Like
The
everything was like
Sombra
such a big thing,
notorious
and I think
Easter eggs.
right, right. So it's like I think what's happened is that as we have fallen away from that over time, because let's not lie, I don't think any character besides maybe Ramattra in Overwatch 2 has had really a significant impact on like the lore or whatever, right? Um, there feels like more questions as to why is the cadence so slow if there isn't as much of a necessary buildup. I might, I don't think this should be a hot take, but I think the voice acting, the quality of hero design is on par or not better than Overwatch 2. You look at somebody like Hazard. I know his visual design was very controversial, but I think the voice acting in his place, his personality was like very, very clear. And I think they've done a good job with basically everything. The problem is that the lore aspects haven't felt as fleshed out. You look at somebody like an Ediari, who I actually think is a really bad hero design personally. But her position as a personality and her position in the lore was really cool, and they just didn't really do anything with it. So then that raises the questions, and why are these releases taking so long? My opinion is the obvious opinion. It's what's already been echoed. If they could release 4 heroes or 5 heroes a year at the same quality that they have with the last 2 years, then I'm all for it. I think everything since Venture has, if not been perfect, been really overall quite good. And I've enjoyed playing all the characters. They're not perfect, but they've done a really good job of offering very different looks at unique ways of playing the game without being hilarious, just jokes of a character design like Brigitte, who is very unique in a terrible way, right? Or Orisa for that matter, right? Like these are characters that are very unique and yet not completely toxic, right? And I've enjoyed all of them. And Wuyang looks to be something more of the same. Um, I guess my question is going to be: does the cadence need to increase, or does our investment into what a hero release actually means need to go back to what it was with Overwatch 1? Because I don't know what the system looks like right behind bars, but I would love to see more effort being put into with a hero release have it affects not just a new thing to play in game, or if that's all it's going to be, then maybe our cadence can increase. But I will say that I think that like I want the quality to remain the same. Selfishly, I know that's not necessarily what the popular average player necessarily cares about. But I do think that like Flats, like you were saying, it's like you're not going to compete with Rivals cadence, and you shouldn't try. So you should carve out your own niche and do what you're doing best. But that doesn't mean that we can't improve or change in small measures, right? Like it's not like saying that like, oh, because Rival does bans, Overwatch shouldn't do bans. Well, maybe there's some things to learn.
Yeah, it's one
I
of those things
I just
where. Sorry, go ahead, Avril.
I just checked them. I just checked the release dates on a couple of other games just for comparison. I wouldn't mind Flight's reaction to this, but I just had a look at Valorant, Apex Legends, and League of Legends, and they're all averaging about 3 to 4 heroes or characters a year at the moment. And this is even coming from League of Legends, a game that used to do, looking at some of the release dates, 6, 8, 10, and then more than that. They've like slowly gone down over the years in terms of how many characters they're releasing per year. To now, where it's roughly averaging 3 to 4, depending on the year. That's for Apex, Valorant, and also League of Legends. So these are like super popular games, right? And they only do 3 to 4, which is about where Overwatch is. So I don't know how you
Correct
feel
me if
about
I'm
that in terms of.
I was just saying, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe League of Legends was asked to slow down by its community because League of Legends was like literally like running out of control, like with how many characters they were putting out. Like, if I
It's also
believe.
like a diminishing
I don't know the
return at
lore.
that point, right? Like it's like if you have 50, 60 heroes, each new one is not necessarily adding something so much to the game as much as it's like another thing to learn on top. Like if you haven't learned, because you're not going to touch all the heroes. Like that's just like in a MOBA, people at pro level are like would be bad at like some other heroes. So like I don't know if you're adding necessarily that much by adding another hero, but that's a sort of
Um,
in between point.
I also Doesn't I mean if we're just sticking with League, isn't League very like famous for doing a lot of reworks as well for characters?
Yeah, they did a lot of reworks as well. I don't, for the record, I don't know what the lore is behind like or why they decided to slow down. It may be because their audience said, "Hey, this is pump the brakes, guy, because this is insane. We can't keep up with this." Maybe that did happen. I'm not exactly too sure, but
Yeah.
like in present day, League, Apex, and Valorant all do 3 to 4, like 3 different titles in different genres. So I just think
So
like in
That sorry, just to quickly add.
Yeah.
So Valorant is another one where actually I feel like outside looking in, I feel like the community has complained about the addition of
Yes.
things that are like brightening the screen and clogging things up. Like they actually want, they're
Mhm.
already like, take it back to original Valorant where things were cleaner and simpler.
Yeah. I don't think that's a hero problem though for Valorant. I think that's because like they're just fucking doing the same shit over and over and like they have to one up themselves. And so the flashes get bigger, the smokes get bigger, the chains get bigger, like everything like they do, they just keep one upping themselves and they're basing their game off of what was CS:GO, like the format of a tactical shooter, which is like very front to back in a lot of ways. Like you have smokes, you have utils, you have stuff like that, but like it's
say
there's
simple.
so much happening in that game where it's like you can't see shit, you know. So I know what you're talking about. I've seen the same thing. So let me say this then. I would be totally fine if you counted a season, like if you wanted to go to that 6 a year format, right? If you counted reworking old heroes as a new release, that'd be fine. I think there's like arguments to be made for multiple Overwatch heroes that I think need reworks. And maybe with League of Legends, that's what ended up happening when once you get to so many characters, there's ones that have fallen way behind over the last 10 years, 15 years. And like they go back and fix those and try to catch them back up to like more modern times. I think that's a good example of like them just working with what they got because like you can keep a lot of the same assets. You're going to remake a whole new character. Like just the way they work can be changed. And I mean, Overwatch could do that absolutely. There's many heroes I think that have fallen behind. Apex Legends, I don't know if it's like a great example. I feel like Apex Legends has fallen off really fucking hard. If anything, the only thing that's keeping Apex Legends afloat, I think, is its esport, and even that's on the fritz.
I'm just naming games that have like heroes and characters that they release and what their
Yeah,
cadences are as
I know.
comparisons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand where you're kind of getting at. And I mean, I think even a lot of those games are fighting for attention, and like I bet they're having the same conversations as a community, going, "What do we do?" Right? And each of them have something that they're good at and some things that they're not good at, right? Um, so I mean, like if there was a clear cut, easy answer, I think that every game on the planet would do it, right? And like, there's a reason why everyone copied the Fortnite strategy of Battle Pass collapse because they did great. Why? Now everyone does them, right? Like, everyone went, "Oh shit, that really works. Let's do it. Let's do that now." So you know, as much as everyone likes to be an expert, like we're all kind of starting figuring this thing out at the same time. But like, at least from where I'm coming from, is I'm telling you, your number one competition has done is kicking it up like 10 million gears. And granted, they're gonna probably crash and burn and hit a wall, you know. But that doesn't mean you should just like not try to keep up. Because I think the thing that Overwatch has done over this last year, and I hope it continues to keep doing, and I'm actually worried that from being a bit of an like a little bit on the outside, I get to see it now. I think Overwatch is getting a real bad problem with if anyone says anything negative, they get really upset at them. Like you see it on Twitter all the time. Like someone like says like, "Oh, I don't like this skin." They're like, "Oh God, can we have anything?" And it's like that's a real scary that's a scary road to start walking down because like if people are afraid to say anything, that's how you have problems go rampant for months because like nobody wants to be the guy who says something because you're going to get targeted, right? um I'd be a little careful about that one while you're going forward at like just as like a general message, I guess. That being said though, I think that you can push for more things because like as we've seen, almost everything you've gotten asked for in the last couple years has come true. Like if you took us in a time machine and threw us back to pre-PvE Overwatch in 2023, right when the game was fucking cooked, like we were all like, yeah, guys, this might be it. Like GG's, you know, Overwatch 2 was not it. Like we're fucked. And you told them all the shit that's in there now, we would call you a liar. There's no way we'd believe you. It would not happen. So, what is wrong with asking for more from a multi-billion-dollar company that is owned by like a literal Fortune 10 company globally and has the budget to probably do these things. And if anything doesn't have the budget, can probably acquire the budget to keep pushing it forward, because most games that come out today fail because they aren't the Big 10 of League, CS, Apex, Fortnite, whatever. Like, people hop on it, play it for 2 months, and then everyone goes, "Oh, that game's dead," and then like they don't want to touch the quote dead game, right? But Overwatch has been called dead a million times, but it still has a consistent player base. So companies would kill to have an IP in a game like Overwatch. They'd kill for it, and they have one. So why would they not keep supporting it? They will keep supporting it because it's still doing good. And if anything, if all the reports are true, it's still trending upwards. So why not push for more changes and push for more good things? Being in this case, potentially more heroes a year.
This is another thing where it's like, I wish we had access to some of the data, right? Like, we obviously, that's not how the thing works. But like, you know, the thing you mentioned about the executive saying that like hero releases were the number one thing that did it for us. I actually think Spilo's point is a really great one, which is like, I'd be curious as to how, what percentage increase we see now with the Overwatch 2 hero release versus an Overwatch 1 hero release. Because as Spilo mentioned, it's all these things are really easy to forget because we're so far removed. But like, when a hero released in Overwatch 1, it like literally told us something about Overwatch that we didn't know, right? Because back then we were desperate to find out what is the mythos behind Overwatch, like what is happening. When Ana releases, like, oh shit, this is Farah's mother, and like she was a part of Overwatch, and we're learning in that way. And then like when Doomfist released, we would see changes to the map, right? Like the Numbani airport famously got broken, and then the payload of the Doomfist was like taken. And so it was like it wasn't just that the hero was releasing and we get a fun new hero. It's like we're learning something about this game that we're all waiting to unravel the mystery, right? It's like we're all hooked in on a TV show trying to find out, well, what happened actually to like these Overwatch characters and who was involved in what. I imagine, I don't know who's thunder.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I
that
heard
was
something.
Me.
Oh, it was you?
Holy mother of fuck. Sorry.
Damn, that's... Stay safe out there. I'm curious as to like if that had a bigger impact than now hero releases have, and whether that's another factor the devs want to consider. Is like, okay, well, they're still big, but they're not that big anymore. And then if that's the case, do they need to start going for something like that again? Do they need to start like, okay, well, can we have it so that, okay, we're only going to release 3 heroes a year, but each hero is somehow shaping what we know about Overwatch, right? Like, no disrespect, I like, for example, Iliari is like one of my favorite releases of characters in terms of just like who she is as a personality. Like, I love the origin story, but like, it's like a whole other subplot that they just don't explore. It's like a bad movie where like a character appears to be like, I'm from this hidden warrior people and my birth destroyed all of them. Okay, bye now. You'll never hear about this for another like 3 years now. You never
she
like
just accidentally commits genocide and nobody ever hears about it again, you know?
It's like, it's no relevance to anything else that's going on. It's like,
describe
wait.
the MCU.
Yeah, but that doesn't get the same, it doesn't have the same burden of responsibility, because if you wanted to learn about the MCU, you can. But if you wanted to learn about Overwatch, right, how can you, like, how do I know what the fuck happened to Iliari's people? I don't know unless they tell me, right? So it's like the burden of expectation is much higher.
Yo, Flats, I'm not going to dox you, but, you know, that radar is not looking good, my friend.
Did you see my lights flicker? Did you guys see that?
I
don't know if you could see it.
Yeah.
It scared me a little.
Someone's playing Storm near you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, to your point, SUBC, I told you, Overwatch doesn't have lore. We can't find out Ilari's backstory beyond what they've given us.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's again, we're providing food for thought. The devs sat there like, these fucking clowns, they don't know what it takes to churn out a
always
hero.
Goes back to the cinematics of PvE. Guys, dang it, man.
It doesn't even have to be a cinematic.
Can I say something really quick on that?
Yeah.
You know how, like, yo, listen, hey, speaking to you here, all right? I know we threw that shit in the trash, all right? We're over it. But I know the cinematic, the in-game cutscenes still exist, even if they're unfinished. Why not just go, you know what? Hey, we're never going to release this PV because it's fucking gone. But we made all these cool cutscenes and they're all voice recorded. Drop them on a YouTube playlist and go, if you want to watch it, here it is. Fuck it. There you go. And then everyone who has ever been super interested in what it was going to end up looking like and go, holy shit, There it is. And then we can all go, holy shit, that was awesome. Or holy shit, that sucked balls. Or we can just go, that's cool. And we move on. And guess what? We'll never talk about it again. We'll never have to, because it's like, well, we get to see what it actually ended up looking like. You know what I mean? Like,
I have a
the
better
only difference
idea.
is we would have played it in game.
Lock it behind the premium battle pass, 600 euros.
Now, I got a spot for you in corporate.
Bundle it with a skin pack, $500. This is the most expensive
Yeah.
piece of content you'll ever buy. At least it would actually be content though, and not just like, a shiny new League skin or whatever. Oh my god, Avril's whole house is about to come down as he entered in that room.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody
Good.
everybody keep your various roofs above your head as we head over to the next topic then. Let's talk. So you guys kind of talked a little bit. I feel like there's going to be a large section of people who would hate me if I don't mention that 6v6 is still a thing. What is the state of 6v6 in Overwatch, and like where does it situate in the whole larger picture of how we view Overwatch? I'll go to Spilo first. Spilo, I think you're the first person who mentioned 6v6, if I remember correctly, in the call.
All right, we're cooking here. Two things. The things I mentioned earlier, I'll elaborate a little bit more. One is just generally the development attention. I think it deserves the fraction of the player base. It deserves the fraction of the development time. So I don't know exactly what that is, 5%, 10%, 15%, whatever. Let them have the development time. There's whether that's individual perk adjustments if necessary, individual balance adjustments if necessary. Whatever the play. Listen. I understand the argument of they're gonna be vocal. Okay, fine. If they're playing the mode, they deserve the development time, whatever that development time may be. Second thing, I think in general, I touched on this earlier. I think in general, the development philosophy with 6v6, I think that they are too conservative. In terms of, I think that they were too scared of tanks being oppressive in 6v6, and I think that the overall emphasis on like slowing down these cooldown cycles, because cooldown cycles are going to be OP, because it's just I just don't care, and I don't think they should care either. Zarya bubble with Ryan, make it OP, sure, who cares? Malga cardiac, okay, fine. I mean, I wouldn't make Malga oppressive certainly, but what is it, like a 16-second cooldown is ridiculous. Like the whole philosophy should be maybe make the cooldown weaker, but the cycle should be faster. Like, I just think having these long cooldown cycles that's never something that we ever did in Overwatch 1. We never had those 16-second cycles between cooldowns. And so, like, I think in their fear of like, oh no, tank's going to be OP, they did it to where you're doing. I mean, Samito, one of the things that Samito always says is like, make cooldown weaker, but make it happen more often, so you're able to actually engage in the game a lot faster. And I think they kind of missed the bar with that as a whole with 6v6, and I think that it's just a huge mistake. But yeah, those are my 2 points. Beyond that, I think that's all we have to say.
Avril, as a famous representative of the 5v5 side on the 6v6 debate, how do you feel about how it's shaped up?
I barely play 6v6, but I'm okay with it existing in the game. It's probably not the exact ideal version of 6v6 that everyone wants, but it depends. I mean, because I feel like a lot of people in 6v6 don't often always agree on what version of 6v6 they want. Like, there'll be the people that want like a pre-season 9 version. They're like, oh no, we don't want season 9 changes. Let's go back to pre-season 9. Some people like the open queue. Some people actually want a 6v6 roll queue, even though there's a very good reason why that can't happen, as we all understand. That is what caused 5v5 in the first place, is because 6v6 roll queue, we just didn't have enough tanks. Yeah, like whatever version, pick a date in Overwatch 1 history, and there'll be a point where someone says, that is where I want my 6v6 to be. So I don't know that people generally have a consensus on where they want 6v6 to be in the first place. I don't really play enough to get like a really good sense of like whether I think 6v6 is really good right now, if it's in like a good place.
I think that's kind of the point of like the development time, right? Like how people don't agree in 5v5 either, but yet there's still a vision with what they want to do, and they're still listening to feedback and making adjustments. With 6v6 right now, it feels like, well, the players don't agree. I mean, yeah, but like that doesn't give you an excuse to not give any development time. Like we should be playing the game mode and feeling what it feels like, and what feels good and what feels bad.
You're saying it needs more development time?
It needs the development time that it deserves from the play time that it gets, and right now it gets basically almost literally zero development, and yet
So
it doesn't have 0% of the player base.
So it should get more development, is what you're saying then.
Yes, more than
Right.
0. Yes. Yeah.
What I mean, what I don't know what would it get with more development? Like, what are we talking? Is it not balanced
I
enough?
think
Does
that
it need
there's
more balance?
Yeah,
Like,
I think
I'm
there's balance issues. I mean, I think there's balance issues. I think there's hero design issues. Like I was talking about the cooldown design thing of like, I think if you played 66 for long enough and experimented with shorter cooldowns, I think you go, wow, that actually feels better from a gameplay loop standpoint. Like I said, they're overly scared of these tank synergies. Like if you play a lot of 66, it's really not that bad. Like it's not like there's no sustain metas really in 66. So like I think they were overly concerned about that. I think there's like even like certain perks that are definitely a lot stronger in 66. A good example is like the Roadhog bait perk, which is like really not great in 5v5, like the AoE bait perk, but it's actually pretty strong in 66. But like there's just like all these little like just put some time into it and you go, oh yeah, what if we tried that? Or we just little adjustments here and there, you know? So but those are things that you're only gonna do when you put actual time into it. And yeah.
right. I don't
Go
know how
ahead,
much
you
the
go, and
devs
I
want
go.
to move away. I don't know how much the devs want to move away from like Overwatch's experience between 5v5 and 6v6. Like, there's already like extra 2 players in the lobby, and then beyond that, it's like how much further do we want to move away? Like, because you're talking about cooldowns now and stuff like that.
It's not necessarily further because it's already further. Like they've already increased the tank cooldown cycles. If anything, I'm saying dial it back closer to 5v5.
Right.
You kind of get what I'm saying? So
Sure.
I feel like this. I'm gonna throw an idea out there. Might be fucking stupid. This might again be a bell curve meme where I'm just like suggesting the obvious, but I feel like, as Spilo says, probably the biggest thing it lacks is a vision. I don't know what the internal wranglings of the team are. I don't know if there's like a section of them who are also staunch 6v6ers, right? Who are like some section of the balance team are also like, yeah, fucking 6v6 was better, and they want to put their hands on 6v6 and they want to develop it, but they're not being allowed to. But it would probably just be worth throwing like a Samito or a Hawk, just like just literally hiring them, even if it's on a consultancy basis, and just being like, you create a vision and we're just going to let you balance it. And like, you can even be very direct. And in the past, I would have shied away from suggesting something like this because I would have been like, just no way Blizzard does this. But they've done a really good job of incorporating community members into the development team recently. Like Custa, famously, like Liz is in the team now as well. A few other people who've like kind of been in the ecosystem.
they're a lot more open to feedback, period.
Yeah, and they've kind of been incorporated into the system, right? And I legit think you could, like, Hawk would love this job of just like, yeah, okay, you be the spearhead, you be the communicator, right? You're the guy who gives the 6v6 dev updates. You're the guy who says, this is why I did what we, like, this is why the team did what we did. And, like, here's the vision. And then at least that way you have, like, a subsection of Overwatch existing on its own ecosystem without this, like, push and pull, right? Like, the problem is you don't want to do this. The main team developers are being forced to balance it, and then the counter accusation is they don't really want to balance 6v6. They're giving us a half-assed job. This isn't really the 6v6 we wanted. So like, create that, like, okay, you guys, you do your thing. We're gonna empower you, and like, hopefully that goes well, and like, let see how it goes. Like, if it goes badly, you can reassess that 6 months down the line. Say, this ain't working. We need to cut 6v6. Yep. Or you like say, actually, this is going really well. The players are more and more engaged. Let's see where else we can take this, right? Because I think this system isn't going to work. They need to give someone like, you're in charge of 6v6 Overwatch.
Real quick, if Samito made it to the dev team, you could
Yeah,
officially call him a shill.
Is it true?
Yes, that's true. We could shout out my boy
paid guy on the dev
Ralph.
team.
I legitimately think like the vision for 6v6 that I see in contrast to 5v5 is, we were talking a little bit about it. That's huge, Flats. That's crazy. We were talking about it like earlier where 5v5 is like a little bit more autonomy, more flexibility, more dynamism. Sure. I have always looked at 6v6, at least if you want to go back to the old days of like, what is the ultimate team play simulator. Like, if you pick the synergies, you pick your Ryan Zarya, you get your Bap Lucio, you get your Genji with Zarya bubble, you're just going to run the lobby. And to be honest, they need to lean into that more. They need to they need to allow and encourage any sort of insane synergies. No self-reliant tanks, no self-reliant supports. Everything is reliant partly off of your team. Maybe I'm cooking too much there, but like, that's where I think the vision of 66 is different than 5v5. And rather than trying to lean away to it and make it more like 5v5, I think they just need to make it more like 6v6. And like, if you have the OP tank synergy, you win. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's just how it goes, because people want that high. They want that because that's what's different than 5v5, in my opinion.
We're going to take it to Flats, because Flats, actually, you mentioned earlier that 6v6 Overwatch is your preferred tank experience, right? Like, not necessarily overall, but you you want to play that version if you can. So where do you stand on like 6v6? Is there ever a thing that would like make you play it more consistently?
Oh, to give you context, actually, the last time I played the base game was I played 6v6 and I grinded to like top 30, and then I was like, "Yep, I'm good. I'm all set actually on this."
Solve the game. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's well, I mean, like you can tell it's not a supported game mode. Like, why would I care about a game mode that's not cared about, right? Like, doesn't get balance patches. The like Spilo was saying, like they made some decisions with it in fear of sustain or whatever it might have been, and that's totally fine. But like they never did anything else with it, and it's clearly not even the redheaded stepchild. It's like worse. It's like fucking orphan that found its way under the deck and like they just said, "Fuck it, you could stay there." You know what I mean? Like
He's fucking Harry Potter
sad.
living under the closet.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
The
And like obviously Stadium took like the wind out of all the sales of 6v6 stuff, which is totally fine. But you know, I also think that a lot of the 6v6 people kind of stopped. They just like don't care. Like they felt like they fought so hard to get 6v6, then they got it, and like it's like there it is, but it's not what they actually wanted. So they're just like, I mean, it happens with a lot of things in life. Like imagine like things that you like genuinely want or genuinely like are excited for, and then you get it and it's not actually what you were looking for. Like it's close, but it's like, no, you got to do these other things, but like, you know, you got what you wanted technically, and so everyone's kind of like you're kind of like, well, we fought so hard, and it's like, well, do we really want to keep fighting for this? Because like it's clearly not going to get the support that we really wanted it to. And then obviously there's the debates about like I think the big one is between open queue and roll queue. And like roll queue, I think is what people really liked. The 6v6 roll queue is what a lot of people remembered wanting, but it's not possible. So you only can get open queue, and the open queue version's okay, but it's not quite the same structure that you really wanted from before. And so I think a lot of people see the writing on the wall and just go, well, okay, well, I'll play this every once in a while. And I think those people do still play 6v6, but I think they're much quieter now. And I think it's a much smaller group. And I think that a lot of people that maybe tried it from 5v5 that never played 6v6, tried it, looked at it and said, this wasn't that fun. I don't know what the hype is. And because it never got any other changes that brought it closer to what people ideal 6v6 experience was, they never went back to try it again because it's not supported and it never got any changes anyways. So it's almost like remember like Overwatch Classics? Like there was some certain metas that they did for Overwatch Classic that like if you played it back then was really fun or not fun or whatever it was. And then they brought it back in Classic and people went, oh, like why did people like this? And then you discovered there's like 19 bugs that actually like didn't work. Like it wasn't actually the patch, like because like these 3 or 4 characters that were hard meta at the time actually are broken and weren't correct. So it didn't actually feel the way that it was supposed to feel, but you'd get the perception of like, oh, I tried it. I didn't understand the hype, you know? I think 56 had a similar thing happen to it. Yeah. And you know, I know have friends as well that actually, when they do go back to play Overwatch, they actually play the 6v6 mode at this point. But even that, like they just play Rivals now because like Rivals actually feels supported, and like the 6v6 in Overwatch doesn't feel supported. So like they have an alternative now. Actually, I think that's actually the true answer. I think the reason why you don't see the 66ers talk that much anymore is they play Rivals.
True, probably
Real
true.
Talk.
Probably true.
Because
well,
like
maybe it's a losing battle.
I just wanted to say really quick, I think the scariest thing is not when people complain or bitch or whatever. It's when they stop bitching and they stop complaining. Because I'd rather have people be upset than people not care. Apathy is worse than rage.
True. Well, obviously, if we can get them to be happy, that'd be nice. But then who's happy in the fucking internet era? So there's that.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on 6v6 before we move on to the next bit? Anything else? AVRL, you munching something?
I'm just glad the debate is like pretty much over. Like, you know, and I still don't truly know what version of 6v6 people want still. So it's like hard. Like I think I agree. I don't know what the direction of it is, but I don't even know I fully understand what the direction of 5v5 is either. Like, it's just Overwatch at the end of the day. Maybe I'm looking at it too simplistically, but
I look at it this way: 66 open queue is a must. There's no other, because the queue times is unsolvable without it. It has to be 66 open queue. You cannot make 66 the base game. It's way too much of a pivot. Like realistically, too fast. 66 would have to organically build up a player base, but to build up the player base, it deserves to receive the development time that it deserves for the player base that it currently has, from somebody that is actually invested in the game mode, and then we'll see what happens. But we can't make it a self-fulfilling prophecy by saying nobody wants to play this game mode, so we don't play any development. Well, then we'll just give it the development that it deserves for the playtime that it gets. Just like Stadium is getting right now. Stadium has its own development team. I'm sure it gets as much investment into how many players that it has. Same thing goes to the 5v5, So it's like, if it's like, you guys remember the whole PvE things where they did the events, like the weird arcadey style games? Remember that stuff? Like there's like the Moira one with like the
Blackwatch and stuff.
Lovecraftian. Yeah, they cut all the resources to those things because, no offense, they were boring. You play them a few times and then nobody ever played them again. Now, I'm not saying that those people deserve to lose their jobs. It's always sad. But the result was that got way too much development time for the amount of players that was put in. So it didn't get the result. Right now, I think 66 probably deserves more development time than it gets in terms of play hours. And if you just look at it from that standpoint, it really simplifies the argument. If it's good, then it will improve. If it's not good, then it won't improve. But right now, it's definitely neither side is going to be happy with the result of where we're at right now.
Yeah. I think that the 6v6 debate clearly could go on infinitely. And I got people in my chat still, and I'm sure in everyone's chat, still arguing vehemently, life and death, that like, bring 6v6 back, 5v5 is shit. No, 6v6 is shit. Get a job, guys. Get a job. Let's see what else we got on the docket here. So the next thing, I mean, there's a few like minor things, so let's rattle them off. I think I'll just like list a couple things, and you guys tell me if it's like, oh yeah, I actually have something to say about that. So the collaborations, I think that's like something where you have to say that like Overwatch keeps doing some pretty big things, like with the collaborations has managed to get like some pretty fun things. So I've listed here, there's Nerf, there's Gundam, G.I. Joe, Street Fighter 6. So these are all collaborations that came through in fairly recent memory. Of course, before that, there's like some fun stuff like The Last Airbender. Personally enjoyed that one. How do you feel? Is that like, does it move the needle at all for you guys? Like, does it ever like think, oh yeah, this is like something that's going to get people? Porsche was another one. Anybody who has any strong feelings in the collaborations, speak now. Raise your hand or thunder outside if it, in the case of flats.
I don't care. But I know lots of people who do. So shout out to those people.
I don't see it as negative. So in my eyes, it can only be a positive. It's just up to you to, is it a big positive or a small one? I don't know. But I don't think it's a real negative on the game. I think there may be some Overwatch purists out there that'll be like, oh, it's cringe and weird that like Chun-Li and Ryu is in my game now when like, this is getting too Fortnite-y, which, I wouldn't want to see a Snoop Dogg and Nicki Minaj collab like they do in Call of Duty, you know what I'm saying? I think that would start getting a little too weird for me, but as long as we don't get into that territory, I'm okay with it.
You know what? I would love that just for AVRL's reaction. I need to see AVRL's live reaction to the announcement of the Nicki Minaj Overwatch collaboration.
I'll cringe for you right now if you want to see it. That's just what it will be. That'll be my reaction.
She has like a COD collaboration, so
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Activision.
Some of the COD collaborations are so cringe.
Activision crossover.
Like a Beavis and Butthead one now or something like. Oh fucking.
Oh no! Some guy in chat said Elon Musk collab. Ban that guy right now. We do not want the Torb, the famous bronze Torb.
The bronze Torb, yeah, coming
through. Okay, so yeah, apathy towards the collaboration scenes, but again, I do think there's a section of people for whom that's like a big thing. Competitive drives. This is another thing that I feel like people do care about, but then probably something that you guys don't care about, because it's another one of these like it's a cosmetic at the end of the day, right? And it's like most of the hardcore players are like, whatever, I don't care, but some people really care. Do any of you guys care about competitive drives?
I think they're great.
You think they're great?
I think that they should do two, though. I think they should do a stadium one. They should do a base game one. If you want to get real freaky with it, make a 6v6 one, too. And then you encourage people to play different game modes depending on where it is in the season. Like, I know the whole point of it is, like, last week of the season, get people to play before the new season. But, like, what if, like, I know that they probably have the data, right? There's probably data for, like, what parts of the season are downtime. Like, people don't play that much. Well, guess what? Now Now you stick a drive in there, and it's not just at the end of the season and everyone's fighting for it. And then you also don't feel like you have to play. Like, I know it's for all of them now. Like, I know, like, starting this season, I think drives are going to be available for Stadium and for base game. And if they really wanted to, they could just keep with that. Fuck it. But like, what if they like, got people out of their comfort zone? It's like, well, if you want to earn this extra competitive points, you got to play 6v6 this week. Oh, you want to earn those extra competitive points? Hit Stadium. You know what I mean? It's like, it gets people out of just playing one thing and gets them out of that routine and breaks them into a bigger part of the game. I think that's valuable. I think it's a good way to get people out of their bubble. And drives is a good incentive because everybody loves those competitive points, either for the gold weapons or whatever. Actually they brought that. Yeah, you can still do Jade, or the Galaxy weapons, etc. But like, yeah, people love to get those. And so, never mind the name card. The name card's like an extra bonus, but I think that's like the big drive is like people getting the competitive points, getting to play different game modes. Do it.
I agree with Flats. I think getting people to engage with different heroes, different modes, different situations is like by far the best way to increase replayability, I think, besides having like a good competitive integrity, right? But like, yeah, whenever I have to talk with people that are like, oh, I want to get drives or I want to get Jade weapons for this so-and-so hero, and I ended up finding out that I actually just really like that hero. I never thought I would, or I really like this game mode. Like, I hear that all the time. So finding like soft ways to incentivize that without mandating it is, I think, really good.
AVRL, I know you're eating, so you can just go with like a thumbs up or a nod of approval.
I don't really have any big thoughts on drive in general. I think it's just like it's like collabs, right? It's just a cool little thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a negative in the game, so it just depends on how much of a positive you think it is. It adds a little bit of extra incentive for people to play at the end of the season, which is great. And maybe they could expand on that. But I honestly, if they just did nothing and kept it the same, I think that'd be okay as well. I think drives are
Free real estate.
fine the way they are. Yeah, literally free real estate.
Okay, well, the final thing to rattle off on my quick list is, and you're gonna have to fill me in on how much of a thing this actually is. Maybe this will reveal the shills in the call. But I heard rumors of an Overwatch mobile MOBA being in the works and something that's apparently going to release. So I don't know what the fuck that's all about. I don't know if that's like complete random speculation. I don't know if you guys have been secretly playing it because you're in the NDA access and you have it right now downloaded. That's what AVRL was doing. He was quickly checking his build. But
this is like a good quiz.
Checking my NDA real quick. No, I'm kidding. No, I haven't heard about the mobile. I heard there was a Overwatch mobile. That's basically confirmed. Walter Kong is leading that. He's like the general manager of Overwatch anyway, so that makes sense. But I don't know what the type of game. I assumed it was just going to be a port, like you just literally just play Overwatch on mobile. It'd be like playing Overwatch on Switch, but now it's on mobile, right? That's what I thought it was. So, where did you get the mobile?
Did they go
I'm
that in
curious
depth?
about that.
I remember seeing the article. It was like from like a bunch of like Korean devs were bidding on it for the mobile game, and like
So
the bid got secured like 6 months ago.
Did it? I didn't even hear about that. That's more information than I have.
Yeah, I remember there was like an article that came out because it was like, bidding war between a bunch of the top mobile game companies. I think it was out of Korea or Japan. I don't remember which one. And then one of them won. And then people was like, oh shit, they won the bid. That means they're going to make it.
I think it was one of the cavalry posts. Maybe I misread it. Maybe it wasn't a MOBA, but I remember reading that it was a mobile MOBA. It could just be a mobile game. So either way, whatever the end result of it is, whatever the format is, how do we feel about the idea of like a mobile Overwatch game? Like, is it going to be cheap and gimmicky, or is it actually like, hey, maybe there's a whole other market out here? Spilo, how do you feel?
I have no freaking idea.
Thank you. That's why we bring you on the call. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
Great. What are your real thoughts after playing it? You've tested it. Come on.
I can neither confirm nor deny these allegations.
Are you the lead developer on the mobile game, Spilo? Blink twice.
I can neither confirm nor deny those allegations. Now you make now I can't even blink, bro. Like, oh my eyes. Come on, dude. No, I don't know anything about it. I know you guys said there was the Overwatch mobile game leak. That's about all I know or have heard about it. It's not exactly my wheelhouse, so sure.
I remember they called it Overwatch 3 as a joke. Like that was like their internal name for it. Like,
okay,
no
so
joke.
If we want to do conjecture, the real conjecture needs to be what's BlizzCon next year? 10th anniversary of Overwatch, no?
Good point. I mean, it's so far away, though, still over a year away,
because they're always talking about they're reinventing the wheel, right? They did season 9, they did perks. I don't know where they're gonna go next with it. So that's the real juicy conjecture.
Isn't the 10-year gonna have been gone by the time BlizzCon comes around? Like some like in the middle of the year, right? Like July, is it the anniversary? June, July, I feel like.
I don't
And
know. I
BlizzCon
didn't
is
play it
in
in relaunch.
BlizzCon is September, November, I think. I mean, it would still be interesting. I'm sad that they didn't have a BlizzCon this year, although now at the time when they announced it, it's like 2 years away. I was still vaguely covering Overwatch, and now I don't, so I don't know. I don't know if I'd be there, but it's a fun event, BlizzCon, and it's always nice to go, even if nobody gives a shit about Overwatch when you go to BlizzCon and everyone only is there for World of Warcraft. And we'll probably only be there for World of Warcraft again.
It's September 12th and 13th, which means the anniversary takes place before BlizzCon. You're right.
Huh,
So they won't save it to announce it, but it's possible that there's like, maybe they announce, if, let's say, Spilo theory, because he's leaking right now. We know this.
Or they changed it to October, though, because remember Overwatch 2 launch, they changed technically the anniversary to October.
Oh, really?
So you could. They have technically changed
Very
the
smart.
anniversary to the Overwatch 2 date. So they could do it early, technically late for Overwatch 1, early for Overwatch 2.
My question is, how many more
saying is-
systems can you involve? Because Aaron Keller, they've talked about like going to reinvent the game, introduce something new every year or whatever. Which I've always been like, I mean, I'm not going to lie, like I'm kind of indifferent to Season 9. I did like the perks. It's like, how many more new flashy, shiny things can you come up with? And I honestly don't even know. And I honestly not even sure if I like the fact that you feel like you have to. That's just that's like the new Gen Z thing. Like we have to, like Flats is saying, like we got to release, you got to content. I'm like, I like the game, but I honestly don't even know what would you do. Like what would like, how can you fundamentally change Overwatch? My friend Stefano's in chat here, and he's always joking that they're going to do like a random, like their ultimates are going to be randomized every game or something stupid like that. And I'm like, I don't even know where you would go. I mean, perks was a huge change that worked out, but
New ultimates, actually. Wait a minute.
I got it, guys. I got it, guys. They're gonna finally release the PVE, surely.
Oh no! Don't even.
No,
That's like
just change the heroes slightly. Like instead of having soldier just an automatic weapon, it's a burst fire weapon, but it hits a little harder.
Yeah.
And then the ultimate, same thing.
You know, like the Mirror Watch, they're gonna make that canon. It's just gonna be like now everybody's the bad guy. Like the good guys are the bad guys now. Or
Naga's torso just increases by like 20%. His pectorals just grow just a little bit more, and they just don't say anything.
Or
you make different
fine.
versions of some characters.
Okay, Avril's back cooking again.
We're gonna find the perfect middle ground between 5v5 and 6v6, and it's gonna be called 5v6, where one team is 5 and the other team is 6.
I'm already playing that game mode. I don't know what you guys are.
No, you gotta hop on the 7v7 wave. It's time.
That's true.
We finally all have to come together.
There we go. Let's put.
I was ahead of the time.
How many roles? How many roles do you have in 7v7? What's the breakdown?
2-3-2. 2-3-2. You got 2 tanks, 3 DPS, 2 supports.
That sounds more insane than Marvel Rifles.
You haven't heard this? You haven't heard about
yeah,
this?
Come on. The devs even had to come out and say, we can't, bro. They were like, we can't.
Who's leading the charge on 7v7? We have Tomito, the big champion.
Flats
is the big champion at 7v7.
Me.
They had to come out and say, they had to come down and shut down Flats' momentum.
You can keep roll Q, and you get 2 tanks. Then the DPS will have one as long as Qs. I'm telling you, it's the way.
That needs to be a screenshot right there. Can you make that your next thumbnail, like the one that you use over and over again, Flats? Please, like I just need to see that again and again.
So next year, BlizzCon, September, what's going to happen is on the Mythic stage, out comes Spilo. Like, what's up, BlizzCon? I'm here to talk about Overwatch Mobile. And then to talk about 77, here's Flats. There's just 2 of them on the Mythic stage at BlizzCon announcing the new stuff.
Right. I'm not standing next to Flats on a stage, bro. I'm already short enough as it is. I don't have to remind me, okay? We're not doing that.
Spilo in his Blizzard tank top announcing Overwatch Mobile.
It's J3 and Spilo stood on top of him in a trench coat, then stood alongside Flats. That's what's going to happen.
True. Just because they get a box. That's what they did for Jay at the China land. They did an interview and they were like together, and then they panned away and he's on top of a fucking box. It was so funny.
Really?
That's funny.
Well, who knows? Well, they may cook, or it could just be built to hype up.
Jay should have demanded that everyone else kneel down a bit, you know?
Maybe. Put it in the contract. I only turn up if everyone kneels, which makes it sound dodgy, but okay. Well, we're already theory crafting about what may come. So let's we always like to go in that direction when we're concluding. So concluding thoughts, guys. What is your hope for the state of Overwatch, right? Like, so we're looking big picture now. Let's set this BlizzCon as the target, right? Let's say that you think something's happening in the next year until BlizzCon comes. What is your hope for the state of Overwatch, and where will it lead? Where will it leave the game Overwatch? We'll go with AVRL first. AVRL, what is your hope?
Keep going the way we're going. More stadium features, more hero releases. I actually quite like the idea of maybe a hero every single season. Just hearing what Flats was saying about releases, and it's like, if they can keep up the cadence of quality, if they can keep the quality in general, and then I think one hero per season would get you up to the 5-6 per year kind of number. And thinking about it now, it's like that would probably be fine. So I'd be okay with that. So maybe that. And I'm still standing by the fact that I think, what I started the podcast on, which is if they look at the more cultural elements of Overwatch, I think what will get some people back is maybe leaning into a little bit more of the lore side or cinematics and things like that again to sort of drive the interest back. As I said at the beginning, I think that is the thing that gets people in, and then the gameplay, if it's still good, which I think it should still be, then the gameplay is what will hook people into the game long term, with the sort of cinematic and lore aspect getting them in the door in the first place, or getting them back in if they left previously. So, yeah, I think where we're going right now is a pretty good direction. Just more of what we're currently having, better stadium, maybe more content with hero releases, and then I'm pretty happy. There's not much more there. There's not like giant, massive, like they need to do 12v12. They don't need there's no giant thing I have. It's just like do what I think they're doing right now is good, to do more of that.
And hopefully we can get Flats a thunder shelter so he doesn't just get, I don't know, sniped by the sky. Spilo, we'll go to you next.
Take your best shot.
Yeah. I mean, the same as AVRL, same. Keep doing the same. Doing a great job. Hopefully public perception is able to shift a little
Add more
bit.
glass.
I don't think we should ever, don't shut up. I don't think we will ever shoot for ever reaching the old peaks, because it's a 10-year-old game and some things have been done that can't be undone. But, more of the same, stick to your strengths. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned from Overwatch, is that I think if you really look at how Overwatch responded to rivals, I think they did a good job. They didn't try to meet rivals where they were at. They let rivals have their heyday, and then they played to their strengths and stuck with their game plan. And obviously it worked out pretty nicely. But yeah, just more of the same. More of the same.
They were just like, these fuckers are releasing here every month. Let them fall on their sword. Like
Yeah.
was that like Sun Tzu phrase something? It's like, when your enemy's making a mistake, the best thing to do is nothing, right? It's like that's something like that, where it's like just let them hang themselves.
Just don't get in the way.
Well, a lot of the stuff was a very emotional driven, and very rose-colored glasses at the time. It's just you can't compete with that. It's not possible. It'd be like if somebody on Overwatch 1's release was like, yo, Widow's a crappy hero, and why is Roadhog in this game, and why is Bastion a thing, and why don't we have Rollock? They would have been shouted down in 2016. You know what I'm saying? It's you can't compete with that at that point. You just let it run its pace, and then when the game's ready, it's ready. So,
okay, Flats, bring us home. What do we want to see here in that BlizzCon announcement? Spilo steps on stage with Walter Kong with the mobile game, but what else does he bring in?
I'm advocating for myself at this point. I'm done. I've done years of free consulting. I want creator codes. Let's get it going, guys. Come on now. It's time. That being said, I think my list is big asks. It's about cinematics, hype actually around the game beyond small marketing plays, but also just having things to look forward to, and also just we already kind of went into it, picking up the pace for content, because I'm not gonna lie to you, it's fucking nice in Rivals Land being able to have something new to talk about every week, and it's not a skin release. There's always something. There's new heroes being teased, or they're coming out with a new game mode, which is going to be coming out next week. New maps that they're dropping every season. Mini events. They do so many fucking mini events where every week you get basically a mini event, and there's like a free battle pass version and a paid battle pass version, and you get like some really good skins for free, or you can get like a paid ones. But then there's also just like the esports stuff. There's tons of esports stuff. They're invested in that. So like every week you got something to do, whether it's, end of season grinding for ranked, beginning of season grinding ranked, new hero teaser, new hero showcase, right? Like, you like the streamer, like they do the streamer server a week ahead of time, right? And they do like a whole showcase where they bring a bunch of streamers in, and you play matches for like 2 hours and you show all the balance stuff, right? Kind of how like we used to have that preview server forever ago before that got ruined. And they're all open about it. Like, they let small content creators in. They can stream it if they want a couple days before. Like, let them go ahead. Like, they're not afraid of leaks. They're not afraid. Like, they just fucking play fast and loose. And I know Overwatch has like started to do that, but like, it's like they're still stretching and like getting out of bed and like starting to walk, but it's like they're already at a break, like a brisk pace moving. And I'd like to see Overwatch start doing that more, because I don't think Overwatch is a small incompetent team that can't keep up with the billionaires of netties. Like, shucks, like they just have so much more investment than us. Unlucky. I don't think that's true. I don't think you're gonna go as far as them, but I'd be lying to you if I tell you it's definitely not nice as a game, both as a creator and a gamer, having something new to look forward to every week. So I hope Overwatch maybe picks up the pace a little bit, because there's definitely, I mean, for you guys that are streaming and playing it all the time, there's definitely like a week or 2 or 3 where there ain't much, right? Like there's not a whole lot going on other than, skin drop this week in the shop. Cool.
I just spent another 3 hours talking about game design.
Spilo
I'll
made
rework the perks
his
again.
15th rework.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think from my end, obviously, I don't really have any demands or anything for Overwatch in terms of the game. My perspective is purely as a fan of Overwatch in general and a fan of the IP of Overwatch. I think first thing I'll say actually is just like shout out to the dev team for just killing it. Like I fully came in expecting a variety of opinions here from you guys being like, I don't know about this, I don't know about that, maybe like I'll rate it like a 5.5. But like and this is kind of echoes a lot of the sentiment I've seen, where a lot of people I see who do still play Overwatch are like, yeah, this game is hitting it, like it's doing all the things we wanted. I still get people coming to my chat being like, oh man, it's really good right now. So shout out to developers, because that is not easy. Like it's not easy putting in work on a game that everybody like loves to hate, right? As we discussed, like people want to shit on you all the time. People want to diminish your accomplishments, but they did a good fucking job, man. They came to bat every day, and I don't know how they do it. I would not have had. When I was thinking about this call, I was like, man, can you imagine being Aaron Keller and working on this game for like 9 fucking years, and now you're the director and you're responsible for all this shit, and like people still throwing shit at you all the time, but he still puts in the work. He still puts a smile on his face. He's a lovely guy. He's like puts a smile on his face every day. He comes in. So shout out to them first and foremost. Now I sound like the shill, and Flats is thunder chiming. I don't know if that's applause from the clouds, or I'll interpret it that way. I think as a demand, if I can call it that, I just say, yeah, it's not new, but Overwatch media, right? Like I want some storytelling within the world of Overwatch, however they want to present that would be great. The Netflix thing is just like such a meme at this point. It's not even worth mentioning. But now that I analyze media for a living, I have an even double claim to be like, Overwatch, give me something to talk about on the Silk or some shit, like give me something to dig my teeth into. Fuck it, I'll help you. I'll help you for free with whatever the fuck you want to tell with the stories.
No.
I'll help you. Just put some.
It's out there like, wait,
get paid.
No, don't do that.
It's not a serious. I demand compensation, but I will help you. now that I do media analysis for a living, I fucking help you whatever show shit you want to put out. Come on, guys. Like let's get something on the table. It's been long enough. Let's do it. So that would be my request. Anything else you guys want to say before we head out?
Can we address the whole overblown Audible discussion that happened? That Polygon article, really quick. Just a really quick one on that. that like it's so overblown. I think like who the developers put out a thing that says
Twitter.
at some point they said, oh, they're going to focus more on like normal heroes and less oddballs, and everyone freaked out over it. And it's like, no, it doesn't mean they're just going to like do like attractive human characters. It just means, you know, let me get the actual like.
I know
Blizzard
what
is
you're
trying to
referring
correct them.
to.
You know what I mean, though, right?
I know what you're referring.
It's
Even
like-
even I saw this, and it reeked of slow news day. We got nothing else going on. That's what it reeked of. It's like this is the kind of shit people fixate on when they ain't got anything else to talk about. So the reality, it all comes back to just release the hero now. Release the hero files now. Release the files now. Release the Wuyang cut. Because like people get bored. Go ahead, Flats.
I'm pretty sure that article literally said conventionally attractive, by the way. In the article.
As in, we
Just
want to
like-
make conventionally attractive heroes.
I don't think
Yes.
Blizzard ever said that though. Is that what Blizzard said themselves?
I
think
don't
that-
I don't
think-
know. They said that's what the article said though. That's what I'm
I feel like I think Polygon's doing some editorializing right now. I think they're taking some liberties. Is what I think's happening.
yeah.
It also
They
feels
like interpreted it as like, oh, Blizzard hate oddballs. Like Blizzard don't want oddballs in their game. It's like I don't think that's what it is, guys. I think Polygon are having a very slow news day, is what it was.
But I'm always skeptical of things like that, right? Like, it's very possible that they have gotten some inside source, so this is what it's saying. But when I read something like that, it reeks of, like, there's no, like, direct quote. It's not from, like, a developer update or anything. It's not from a developer interview with a streamer or anything. It's just, like, someone told us that they don't want to make oddball
It said it was
heroes
like from
anymore.
a small group. Like they, like they get like a briefing before something. You know what I mean? Like it claimed it was from like a small group session with Blizzard. At least that's how it read.
Which, again, you just don't know. You don't know what that's about. Like, it's really hard to verify, so... I mean, again, maybe it's true, in which case it would be a tragedy, because, like, Overwatch's heroes are fun for their diverse, like, personalities. But then, you know, we had a Venture release fairly recently, so it doesn't sound like they're, you know, moving away from, like, absolute kooks. So...
Hazard as well.
yeah. So we'll see. Anything else you guys want to mention before I let you get going? Because I know I've been keeping your time for a while.
No.
No? You good?
Thank you for hosting as always.
just-
I appreciate that very
Thanks
much.
for bringing back group up.
Why
Yeah.
out of the background,
Yeah.
why is Freya the only one that looks like genuinely traumatized?
Well, it's like
Like, the rest
Hazard
look
looks
like, oh, no.
Hazard looks a little bit disgusted. Juno looks like she's high. Lifeweaver looks like he's not really sure
He's
what's
just
going on.
mewing.
And Freya looks just terrified. And if I look, yeah, Tracer only looks like mildly amused. So but yeah,
Tracer looks like she's like duck facing or something, like she's posing for a shot.
yeah, exactly.
Freya's grandma just
exactly.
came back in a fucking in through the closet or some shit. It's like, holy
Yeah,
shit,
exactly.
what the fuck is
Yeah,
Freya
exactly.
seen some shit. Freya seen some shit. Well, as always, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. 3 hours flew by, so thank you for your time, for your friendship, for your insights. I appreciate all of them in whatever order you wanna place them. But thank you to AVRL, to Spilo, to Flats, as always, for being here. Shout out to the homies. Please do show these guys some love. And yeah, anything else, guys, before we sign off?
No, sir. Thank you very much again.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for being back. All right,
See you
peace
later.
out, guys. Have a good one.